Well. What's up, everyone?
Well.
Hey guys,
What's going on?
Oh, good. We got a special guest here tonight, guys. We got Flat Earth Dave here, man. What's going on, Dave? I really appreciate you joining us tonight. Kind of a short notice, so thanks for joining us. And
Yes.
we've got some questions for you, man.
I hope I have some answers.
I hope so too. I love a good lesson, a life lesson every now and then. I like to learn some new things, and I've always kept an open mind. So I will say this: one of the things that how you popped up on my radar was obviously I and people know me. I don't believe we went to the moon ever, right? And but I heard you say some things as I was listening to one of your shows, and you say often, belief is the enemy of knowing. And I'm like, hey man, I say that too. I absolutely believe that, and I got that from Crow 7, right? So, yeah, and Crow 777. So that's how I was like, okay, so if you know who that is, then obviously we've got to be thinking the same things here. So that's why I reached out to you. So we want to discuss a few things, right? Let's talk about NASA, right? Because there are some that are some true hard NASA fanboys, right? And there are those that just I'll absolutely know they're not, right?
you don't pick on me, okay?
Not picking on you, but I also want to talk. I also want to talk about the Earth and it being a ball or not. So there we go.
So proving that we didn't go to the moon doesn't prove that the Earth is flat, but they are very much related. But everyone remembers this the Ocean Gate with the submarine, right? The submarine collapse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so just picture this. Just think how ridiculous this is. You've achieved success. You're a billionaire. Billion, right? You're a billionaire. Are you going to go in this windowless thing to the bottom of the ocean where you're looking at a small little computer screen of a camera that's on the outside? Why wouldn't you just stay on the ship and drink a martini watching it on the 100-inch plasma television, okay, with your slippers on and getting a shoulder massage? But you're going to go inside this thing, and then out of nowhere, all of the friggin' engineers in the world say that they're doing structural analysis on this, right? But 50 years later, no one's willing to do a structural analysis on this, okay? I mean, look at this thing, right? This thing supposedly went to the moon. Look at this. It's crepe paper, tape, curtain rods. No structural engineer will ever say anything about this because they don't want to be criticized. But would you put your kid in there and submerge it in a lake? I think the answer is absolutely no. And there's nothing about this. So this alone debunks the moon landing, if you ask me. And then there's a million other things, and we can get into it. But before we start speculating on stuff that we can't physically touch and test, we can do some science here in our reach that proves that we're not on a globe. So I don't know where you want to start. There's so many things.
Well, Dave, me personally, I would like to start with your information. I see that was it DITRH? I know what it stands for, but what let's talk about you, Dave. How can people reach you? What's going on in the Flat Earth Dave world?
You can find everything that I'm doing. You can find out how to book me on a show. You can find my app. You can find all the videos, the crash course. You can find why Elon Musk is a total fraud. Everything at flatearthdave.com. It's the only thing you have to remember. And flatearthdave.com isn't even where it goes. It takes you to my real website, which is theflatearthpodcast.com. But most people can't even remember that. They're like, oh, I typed in Flat Earth Podcasting and I ended up somewhere else. Flat Earth Dave takes you there. That's all you got to remember. Everything's there. And I always tell people, don't believe anything I tell you. Don't. I mean, because that's, you don't know me. Go verify the stuff that I tell you, that I show you. Verify it. And when we start looking at, the moon and like they want you to believe. And if you're smart, in a few minutes, you're going to throw up your hands. Those of you that think the flat earth is ridiculous and say, why would they lie? What difference does it make? What difference? And this is where they have you. This is the most important truth in our life, is knowing where you are, knowing the true power that we have. And that's what they're hiding. But let's look at all the dead bodies first that prove that the earth is not a spinning ball in space. and then we can speculate on why the lie. So when you guys look up at a a large moon in the sky, you're like, oh, hey, the moon is spherical, right? The moon is spherical. So I got 4 moons here, right? And for those of you that don't follow me, is this a sphere? How big is this? Is this the size of a baseball, the size of a yoga ball, or it may be bigger, or is it a ping pong ball? You have no way of knowing. Is it a sphere? You have no way of knowing.
Right.
So we'll look at this first one, and now you can see what size it is because the hand picked it up. All right, it was a half a sphere, so how would you know what the other half is? How about this one? Sphere? Looks spherish. What if I told you that one was flat?
No, it's a sphere.
Until you touch it, right? How about this one? Is that one a sphere? Is that a sphere? Is that one a sphere?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
What is it?
For a second.
Bingo.
What is it? What shape is it?
It looks like a sphere.
It looks like a sphere. Right?
I'm going to be honest.
It's a cup. It's a bowl.
Oh my
God. So again, unless you can touch things, the last one's a sphere. Unless you can touch it and know the distance or something about it, you can't really say anything about it. All right, this is, we'll get into this later maybe, but the whole orbit of the moon. Let's do this right now because this is crazy. So the Earth is moving.
1 second, Dave. Can you make him full screen so that everybody can see this? You're kind of small. For
That's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. If you could do that for me, Chris.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
So you guys know those of you that are heliocentrists.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work?
No, I don't think we have it down here.
Sure you do. You have to just put speaker view and then mute yourselves or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you should be
what
able to
what about if you just do speaker view and then when I'm talking,
I don't think it does.
I'll pop up. There you go. There I'm full screen right there. All right. Okay. So
there you go.
So the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, which is crazy, faster than the speed of sound. So when you're watching the sunset, you're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound. It's ridiculous. And then we're orbiting 67,000 miles an hour around the Earth, around the sun. Around the sun. So this is the orbit. And while that's going on, the moon is orbiting the Earth. So if the Earth is going 67,000 miles an hour that way, the moon they say is traveling around 2,000 miles an hour. So it's got to be going 67 plus 2 is 69,000 miles an hour just to keep its distance. Then when it's here, it's got to be going 69,000 miles an hour. And then when it's over here, it has to slow down a little bit to let the Earth catch up. But at this moment right here, it still has to be going 69,000 miles an hour. But then it's got to slow down and go back here, right? Because if it didn't speed up and slow down, the Earth would crash into it or would lose it behind it. So how is it maintaining all of that? And all you can say is gravity, orbits, it's all in motion. None of that makes any sense. And when you actually think it through, it's the dumbest thing ever. So I have some videos that get into that in more in depth. So that's a huge problem. The other problem is the brightness of the moon. So when we look at the moon, it's its own light. It doesn't have a hot spot. When you light up a single source light, when you light up a single source sphere, it has a hot spot. And what is going on? I'm hearing some noise here. Oh, you know what it is? I have my amateur move. I have my YouTube playing, I think. Let's go. There we go. All right. Sorry about that, guys.
It's all good.
Yeah. So when we look at the moon, it's always this bright light that actually you can read by and cast a shadow on the ground. It casts your shadow on the ground. You can, in the middle of nowhere on a full moon night, you can read by it, but there's no hot spot, right? Now I'm standing right next to this cement ball. It's 12 noon. The sun is pretty much over my head or, pretty high in the sky. How come this isn't acting like a light? It should be blinding me because we're 250,000 miles away from the moon. And if you use the inverse square law of light, That moon should be dozens of times brighter than the sun for us to see it at the brightness we see it on the Earth. So if you don't, for those of you that don't know what the inverse square law of light is, every time you cut the distance to a light in half, it gets 4 times brighter. So if it was 1 lumen on Earth, you go halfway to the moon, it's 4 lumens. Halfway again from there, 16. Halfway again, 64. And by the time you get to 100 miles from the moon, I think it's something like the lumens is like 60 times brighter than we see the sun from Earth, which is unfathomable. You can't even fathom what twice the brightness of the sun is. But for some reason, all of this just works in space somehow. I don't know. It's absolute insanity. And there's never a specular highlight like all spheres have when they're lit by a single source. Another weird thing about the moon is these were taken at the same time in opposite areas of the Earth, the UK and Australia. And you notice that the dark areas reflect the color that's behind the moon, the color of the sky. They're blue here, they're black here, and there's a whole bunch where you just look at them and they represent the color of the sky. So what is the moon? I'm not claiming to know, right? You guys claim to know. It's a rock falling around that came from a chunk of the Earth, and it's orbiting perfectly, and it never turns. It's spinning, but one side faces the Earth at all times. How is that? How is that possible? Also, 250,000 miles away, the Earth's gravity is holding on to the moon. That's what you have to believe in the heliocentric model. The sun, which is made of hydrogen and helium, which defies gravity on Earth, is holding on to all of the planets from Venus to Jupiter to Pluto. It's holding on to all of them, but it ignores the moons. How is that? Why? How could that even possibly be? If we look at where to go here? If we think about this, let's just jump here. You got the sun; it's holding on to all the planets. This isn't to scale because if you ever looked at a scale model, they did one in the desert, where the sun was 20-foot high ball. The distances that these things were miles away and the size of an orange. It's so stupid how far away they are. But the sun is able to hold on to all of these. Okay, so the sun's able to hold on to all of these. And now let's see. Let's see how you guys are. This is a lunar eclipse, and that's a solar eclipse. I'm saying lunar because it supposedly is the moon blocking the sun. And so if we're standing on the Earth looking at a solar eclipse, where's the moon? The moon is in between us and the sun, right? The moon would be somewhere between us and the sun. With me? Give me a yes.
Yep.
Okay. So the sun, why does it ignore the moon and hold on to the Earth and hold on to Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto and Neptune? Why does it ignore the moon? When the moon is coming around the Earth towards the sun, how come it doesn't get pulled a little bit? And when it's going away, how come it doesn't get slowed down a little bit? And the only answer they could say is, well, because the Earth's gravity is closer and it's negating the sun, but the sun can hold on to Pluto, right? It's all made up pseudoscience. You just have to believe that all of this solar system stuff is incredible. You guys know what the 3-body problem is? Have you heard of the 3-body problem? It's okay if you didn't. I didn't when I first was asked.
I have not heard of the 3-body problem.
Yeah, I've actually.
So the 3-body problem, is this, where they can take a supercomputer and they can say, okay, we got a sun, it's got this much mass, this much gravity, and we got a planet, and we're going to put them into orbit, and the supercomputer will predict where it's going to be forever in any amount of time perfectly. Then you add in one more body, another planet or a moon that goes around the planet, and now you have 3 bodies, and no computer in the world can figure out what it's going to do next. Here are 3 equal bodies in a computer simulation. Equal bodies. We don't have equal bodies. Everything's unequal, so it's worse. And what you notice is their gravities start to perturb each other, and it goes into chaos mode. And nobody can figure out what it's going to do except for a second or two in the future. but it can't figure out what it's going to do next. Right? That's just 3. Right? There's hundreds of billions and trillions in our in our galaxy alone. And we have hundreds of bodies in our solar system, our ridiculous solar system. So they can't figure that out. But somehow we have all of these planetary alignments and nothing ever changes. You know, the finest watch in the world, you know what's more accurate than that? The sky clock. The movements of the planets and the stars and everything is more accurate than the finest watch made, because that's real time. And for some reason, the gravitational beehive that we allegedly live in works perfectly and never changes. How about this? Let's talk about stars for a second. I'm all over the place, but this is good. I like it. So,
I like it. I've never even thought about all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah.
You just take it for what it's worth, and you
believe it because a guy in a lab coat wearing a bow tie who's must be a scientist, not a failed comedian. He told you that boats go over the horizon. You know, he told you this, and you just believe it. I believed it. So when you look at where's my thing? When you think of our solar system, so we are corkscrewing. So they don't even teach kids
Right. Yeah.
what we're really doing, right? So this is our solar system. Not only is it spinning, are we all spinning, but the sun is flying and we're corkscrewing through space.
Yes.
So this is what's going on, right? And then our moon is going around us. Why all this is going on. And we're traveling 4.4 billion miles a year, never to return to where we were before. But somehow, none of the stars change. It's worse than that. They tell us there's 100 billion stars in our galaxy. And they tell us that 80% of them are binary. A binary star means that there's 2 stars and they orbit around each other, right? So not only are they spinning in this out, they're doing this figure 8 around each other. So all of these different stars are binary and they're doing this crazy figure 8 pattern. But never in all of history has anyone ever seen any parallax where 2 stars change positions. Hey, that star is on the left side of that star, or that star moved over there. Every star, it's like it's fixed in the sky and the sky is rotating above us. Or maybe the stars are fixed lights in the sky that is rotating above us, because there is no other explanation. There's nothing. You should see different star patterns every single day. Every single night, they should be different. But go out tonight, take a picture of the stars, put a note in your calendar to remind you next year, same date, same time, to go out and take the same picture.
And just look at the northern star. I mean,
every star. Remember the Georgia guys? Well, so here's this. So you know that there's a in the Great Pyramid of Giza, there's a shaft that looks right at Polaris, and we're like, wait a minute, heliocentrist. You know, if they say that Polaris is so far away that all of the motions never add up to anything, which is ridiculous. We can prove that wrong. But they also say the Earth is wobbling, and they said 2,000 years ago when that was built, or whenever it was built, it was pointing at a different star, but it just happens to be pointing at our North Star now. So if the Earth is wobbling, our North Star should constantly change. Well, they just have stories of it changing. But here's the thing. The Georgia Guidestones had a hole, and you look through it, and there's Polaris. Now, the Georgia Guidestones were built in 1981. They were over 40 years old. That means, according to the wobble of the Earth, that we've moved over a half a degree. Now, it doesn't sound like much, but a half a degree is like 1.5 moon widths. That would knock it right out of that hole. But we were there. We looked. The star is still there right in the center of the hole. So we started doing a lot of podcasts about it. It started going viral on TikTok. What happens? Bam. Somebody blew up the Georgia Guidestones. And within 3 hours, just like on 9/11, they bulldozed the whole thing and got rid of all the evidence.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember.
Is that because of us? I say 100%. It's because of us. No doubt.
Yeah, so my thing was, when I saw that, what you just had up there a minute ago about us corkscrewing through the galaxy, that was one of my things, is that when I saw that first time I saw that, I'm like, okay, how I do believe that that's the way we're going and everything. But how do
Why would you believe that?
But okay, so let's just say, okay, that to me, something like that would seem like they're stuck in some type of gravitational whatever. I don't know. It seems like we're just sitting there going around in circles.
I'm going to let you finish what you said, but just listen to what you just said.
Right.
Some reason, some gravitational, but I don't know.
Something.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Why, if that is the way that it's going right now, what that video shows that we're going through corkscrewing, why are the stars in the same spot? What that to me, that was like the first thing that came to my mind was like, if that's the way it's really going right now, and I've seen that from like, you know, those white coat lab people saying that's what's going on. Why are the stars still in the same place?
Every night, millennia after millennia, they never change. Never change.
That is true.
They're always you can set your direction by the northern star. You can do. I mean, that's how people would travel through the sea and stuff like that. I mean, so it's been there in recorded time. It's always been there. So to me, now I'm like, okay, so that's one of my biggest questions.
So they tell you that things are so far away that there's no parallax. Which is crazy. It's absolutely insane. So let's look at some of the distances that they tell us. All right. So here is, imagine if the sun was a mile over your head. Whoops, I don't want that. Hold on a second. If the sun was a mile over your head and you looked up, all you would see is the sun. This is just a simulation. So if the sun was a mile over your head and it was the size that they tell us, 186,000 miles across, can't even fathom what that is. Okay. It would fill the whole sky, horizon. That's all you would see. Now, if you move something, so the sun's right here, that's all you see. And we move it 93 million miles away, which is the made up number that they said the sun is. And the sun would get smaller, right? Because of perspective, right? Mm-hmm. So you move it 93 million miles away. Now it's the size of a coin held at arm's length, a nickel or a dime. You hold it up. Yeah, that's about how big it is. If I doubled the distance, how much smaller would it get?
It'd be smaller than a coin, right?
Well, let's say it's the size of a dime or nickel. Let's say a nickel at arm's length. Mm-hmm. If I doubled the distance, the inverse square law says it would be 1/4 of that size. So now it's the size maybe of a pencil eraser.
Right.
So that's double the distance 2 times. Let's double that again. So now it's 4 times farther. Well, now it's 1/4 of a pencil eraser. It's getting pretty small. Okay, that's 4. Double it again. Now it's 8 times farther. It's now the size of a pinhead. It's the size of a star. So at 8 times the distance of our sun, it would be the size of a regular star. Okay. Now they tell us the sun is 8 light minutes away, right? The speed that light travels in 8 minutes is how far the sun is. 8 times 8 is 64. So at 8 times the distance, at 1 light hour, the sun is the size of a star. What happens if we double it again to 2 light hours? Could you see it? 4 light hours. Could you see it? 8 light hours. Could you see it? 24 light hours. 1 light day. Scientifically provable, impossible to see. And the brightness issue is another problem because every time you double it, it's 1/4 of the brightness. So it would have fizzed out by now at 1 light day away. 1 light day, like 1 light hour is too far, but 1 light day away because we're going to give it all the advantage. You could not see it. Now, what good does that do us with astronomy? Because I'm theorizing, like, so what can we compare it to? Well, let's compare it to Polaris. Polaris, they tell us, is 48 times bigger, or 46, but let's say 48. It's an easier number to work with. 48 times bigger than the sun. So, what sizing and variance is? They tell us that the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon and 400 times farther. That's why they look like they're the same size, right? Maybe they're just the same size, but that's what they tell us. So if Polaris is 48 times bigger than the sun, and at 1 light day away, we could not see the sun. That's a fact. That means at 48 light days away, we could not see Polaris. 48 light days away. It's not even 2 months. Let's round up to a year. So now it's ridiculous. It's way beyond any possibility of being able to see it at 1 light year away. They tell us Polaris is 433 light years away. But Dave, the light has been traveling to us for 1 billion years, and it's just traveling, and that star could be burned out already. Cool story, but light spreads out. Light spreads out. And that's why it gets thinner and thinner until you can't see it. So 433 light years away, the most important star in the sky, and now NASA's like, well, maybe it's only 333 light years away. What? You're going to take off 100 light years?
Yeah.
Okay? They're just making up crap. It's the dumbest crap ever. And here's the thing. You know, you've heard the saying, if you're going to lie, lie big, right? This lie is so big that even conspiracy investigated minded people are like, that lie's too big. They couldn't even keep a blowjob a secret, right? So it's so big of a lie. And the indoctrination is amazing. You're indoctrinated to the globe before you can speak. Children's cartoons, books, everything. Goodnight Moon, Sesame Street's got astronauts on. It's absolute insanity. If you watch Sesame Street, remember Sesame Street? You guys all watch Sesame Street, right?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. Okay, maybe some of you still do.
We got kids, man.
Hey.
Yeah, I got it. So here, this is, and you know what the revelation, those of you that listen to Crow, you know what revelation of the method is, where they always tell us the truth. So not to break our free will, that's a whole nother thing. But here's a scene from Sesame Street, and they're teaching kids about fiction. What is fiction? Fiction is fake. Here's the fiction section. What's right up here? A globe and a rocket. Why is that in the fiction section? Is it just decorative?
I think it's just decorative.
You think it's just decorative?
I believe in the revelation method. I mean, 100%.
Revelation of the method.
Of the method, because you can see that not just in this and what you're explaining, but in other things, going on in the world. It's so obvious. But that's crazy.
So I'm going to do one more thing on the moon, and then I'd like to come back to the Earth and just talk. Before we get to the moon, but I'll get there in a second. Is the distance to stars? Besides our sun, they tell us that that stars are bigger than our sun, but our sun looks bigger than the stars. They tell us, the sun is bigger than the moon, but they look like they're the same size. Everything they tell us is just a lie, and it goes against all of our senses. And they tell us that the stars are all rotating, moving in all their own directions, but they clearly appear to be rotating above us. So the closest star outside of our sun is 4.5 light years away. That's 25 trillion miles. 25 trillion miles. So how far is 25 trillion miles? And those of you that listen to me don't answer this, but those of you that think we went to the moon probably don't know this. Do you know how long 1 trillion seconds is? Moon landing. Moon landing guy, raise your hand so I just don't know who you are. Who you believe in the moon landing?
He's a math guy too, Dave. So watch out for.
So how long? Just take a guess without Googling. How long is 1 trillion seconds? Just take a stab in the dark.
10 years.
10, very, very close. 31,000 years. Okay. So one
very close. I like
one. But listen, just now let that sink in. 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. So if you and I got in a rocket ship and we're traveling a mile per second, which no one has ever gone that fast, after 31,000 years, we only have to do that 24 more times to get there.
This is to get to the nearest star, right?
To get to the nearest star. But you know what?
Okay.
Dave got some secret technology. I got a rocket that goes 100,000 miles an hour. You can't even fathom what that is. Guess what? It's only going to take us 28,000 years to get there. Okay? So anyone that's thinking about funding NASA and funding SpaceX so we can go to other planets is ridiculous. It's the dumbest thing ever. 28,000 years at an impossible speed to get to the closest star. And what's there? Right? None of that is real. Why are all the stars the same size? Why do they never move? Why are they so bright? Why is Jupiter's in the sky tonight. Go out and look at it. It's like a piece of the sun. How does that dusty, dirty ball with a distant, small sun, when you're on Jupiter, the sun's really small. How does that light up Jupiter, reflect back to our eyes, and look as bright as the sun, but just smaller? The answer is that we're looking at a light in the sky that's local, very close. It's not a planet. So now we'll go to the moon. Let's go to the moon. If I show you something on the moon that doesn't make any sense, as I said at the beginning, you have to face it. You have to say, all right, well, they're faking that. And if they're faking that, they're faking everything. So if I can show you that NASA's faking anything, then they're faking everything. Why would they fake, weightlessness on the space station? So here is a shot from, I forget which Apollo mission this is. So here's the guy's shadow. They didn't bring any lights to the moon, so the sun. Wait.
Who's okay? That's the person's shadow. Okay.
Here's the person's shadow. The sun's on his back, so that means the sun is over there behind him, right?
Yep. Very
so
logical.
So he's gonna go to the right. So we're just gonna follow him. We're panning to the right, panning to the right, panning to the right, and now his shadow seems to be going away. Now he's going to the right. Just turn to the right a little more. And now his shadow's pointing in the opposite direction.
Oh.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Okay. And now it gets worse.
Well, right? We're assuming that the camera is stationary, right? Is that
no? The camera is just panning to the right. You can look at it. The camera wasn't spinning around.
Camera is stationary in one position, just panning around. Right?
Yes,
there's
absolutely.
not someone walking with them, right? That's what.
Even if he was, it couldn't do that
unless he ran around him or something, or I don't know.
He ran to the other side of the moon.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing: you got to make up excuses. So here's another issue. So here's when the middle shot. Look at these. Let's go right here. Watch his visor, and you're going to see 2 lights, and then you're going to see 4 lights in his visor. 1, 2, little square lights. Okay? And when he turns his head, you're going to see 4 lights reflecting in his visor. There. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it something like this? I don't know. Maybe. But it's not on the moon with a single source light. Did you guys see the whistleblower?
Maybe the lunar module has floodlights. I mean, maybe they just
it doesn't. Nope, it doesn't. They admit they didn't bring any external.
Yep. Yeah, I do know that.
So the scientific reason they claim that the shadows are like this because the craters creating surface roughness that cast those shadows. That's the scientific reason they claim.
Cool story, bro.
Cool story, bro.
Take a drink.
Cool story,
bro. Cool story, bro. So let's look at the Lem one. So
they're all against me.
So again, back then they had Hasselblad cameras with film. Let's just pretend they had secret digital technology and they could beam it back to Earth. And they also had a remote that would pan the camera up to follow this. Now, here's the Lem. There's 2 guys in here wearing diapers, and the nozzle is down here. Okay, the nozzle's down here. So the orbiter's moving 2,000 miles an hour above the moon. An explosion happens. It leaves the nozzle down there. What's this thing? Just going poof like a skeet shoot, and it's going to go up, and it's going to meet the orbiter, and they're going to connect. Are you kidding me? And how did this film get back to Earth? And how did that pan up? How is that possible? And then 2 of the guys,
because of the craters, right? Great Greek.
The craters and the reflection. So this is the guy that was in the orbiter by himself. So they got a lot of paper up there. He's got to look at these numbers, very important. And if hey, watch, wait, who panned that camera up? He's alone, orbiting while his 2 buddies are in there playing golf and riding doom buggies. And who panned that camera up? This is all just him on a 0G plane, and they're mesmerizing the world. They're hypnotizing the world to believe that we can walk on balls in space. This is all to hide the flat Earth, right? When Admiral Byrd went out in Antarctica, that Project High Jump, he said there's more land on the other side of Antarctica from from Middle America. He said, across the South Pole, there's more land bigger than the United States. What? Filled with resources that no human has ever stepped foot upon. And then all of a sudden they say, nobody can go to Antarctica. All the countries in the world eventually signed the treaty, pretty much. And nobody can independently explore Antarctica, but we're going to the moon. A bunch of Freemasons are going to the moon, and you can never verify anything they tell you. But we can catch them faking crap all the time. So we had some anomalies on the moon. Let's just, what else has NASA? NASA has the International Space Station. Let's just look at that for a second. Okay.
Hey, Dave, when you're done with that, I want you to speak to like Greek up above you. He has witnessed many launches of rockets going into space, right? So I want you to speak 40. To that. Yeah, over 40.
Yeah. So where did
questions too, Dave?
Let's go. We'll go over to rockets. Rockets are my favorite. So rockets are a big deception. And sometimes they launch smaller rockets. Sometimes they launch pretty large rockets. No one is ever on these rockets. Sometimes it's just CGI. Sometimes there's nothing. Then nobody actually sees them. They do a lot of them at night because then they could launch something smaller and you just see this red thing. And all the rocket launches, they all go right out. They curve over rather quickly and they crash in the Bermuda Triangle. That's what the whole Bermuda Triangle is about. They don't want anybody out there when they're crashing rockets.
What?
Yeah. All the rockets crash into the Bermuda Triangle and nobody is ever on one of them. What about the Challenger? Did you guys, have you looked into the Challenger accident yet?
Yeah. I remember being a
I watched documentaries and
it's pretty rough on my childhood.
Well, that was MK Ultra Mind Control, where they basically wheeled televisions into every classroom so everyone could watch it. You had a teacher, you had everything. And the thing explodes. It's ridiculous. The whole story is ridiculous. And now, do you know that 6 of the 7 have been found and are working at universities? They're not dead. They have the same name. They say they're identical twins, but they're not the same person. None of them ever showed up at the funeral of their sibling, but they're identical twins. 6 of the 7.
Holy smokes.
Weird.
I have to look into that one for sure.
I have never looked into that or heard that one. So that is something that I will look into because that's interesting.
Write this down. And we've done all the work for you. There's a movie called The Next Level. No, Level with Me has that one in it. There's Level, The Next Level, and Level with Me. You can find them all on my website, flatearthdave.com. Go down to the crash course, or if you have my app, go to the FE movies section and watch all 3 of those, but watch them in reverse order because Level with Me, that has all the Challenger stuff on it, and watch it and then go, scratch your head. We've done all of the research for you. So when you're I'm trying to find the rocket pass. If you really look at any of these rocket paths, where the hell did it go? If you look at the rocket paths, they all just curve over and they crash right into the ocean. They go up and they go right over and they say, well, that's going around the curve of the Earth. But wait a minute. How can we see it go around the curve of the Earth when we're watching airplanes? They go straight. You watch chemtrails, they're going straight. Okay, but this is going right in. It's going right into the water. Yeah,
they do, and they do look like they follow the curve of the Earth. But
no, they want you to believe that because you're like, it has to be the curve of the Earth because otherwise it would crash into the ocean, and it's not doing that. Or maybe it is. Maybe it is.
Have you seen videos where they say it takes a right turn and goes over the ocean? I believe that is false. It doesn't turn. It just headed that way to begin with.
Yeah, I haven't heard that, but
I've seen some. They say, "Oh, look at this video. You can see the rocket take a right turn." I'm like, no, it doesn't take a right turn. Where it goes, that's
So these are the rocket paths every single time, but there's all different ones. And again, I'm jumping all over the place here, but I want to show you. That since we're talking about the Challenger, here's the Challenger crew. Here are their identical twins. They're all working for universities. They all have the same names. There's no record of a twin being born to any of them that anybody could find. And the only one we can't find is Jarvis. He could have died like in a car crash or cancer or something, and they're never going to tell us about it because he's already dead. So we don't know where he is. The other thing is stuff like this. This they really launched, but guess what this is? This external tank.
Dave, can you bring up the?
It's a blimp.
But listen, can you? Oh yeah, can you bring up? I saw, it was from you a while back.
This one.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Okay.
That's
the part
crazy.
where it
the recovery,
like a piece of paper.
Yeah. So I got it all there. I'm
okay,
with you.
Okay.
So you're on the shuttle. It separates from the external tank, which is going to fall back to Earth, and it's going to atomize. 20,000 pounds of steel is going to turn into ash before it hits the clouds. Okay, that's the story. These guys are on their way up at 20,000 miles an hour up. But somehow, one of the pilots can look, it shows you the curve of the Earth, and he's able to film the thing, right? So let me just go a little farther here. Oh, that's not what I want to show you. I want to show you this one instead. Sorry, wrong one. So they're filming this extended. How is that possible? This is falling, and they're going up at 20,000 miles an hour. How does he keep it in focus? How does he keep it in the frame? It would be out of the frame in a split second. So now watch this. This is falling, and it's going to deatomize before it gets to those clouds? Or is this a balloon floating? Now watch right about here. In about 5 seconds, a piece of tissue is going to float by. It's going to give you a little contrast. Ready? Here it comes. See it? Did you see it? I'll go back. Here it comes again. That's going to show you that this is floating, not falling. There it goes. Okay, this is floating. This is being filmed by the guys that are on their way up. And then the Globetrotters go, well, this is just, it's got that momentum too. So it's orbiting. It's falling. It's supposedly falling. And it's going to burn up. And I have a video on my app, on the More Resources page, which is the web button. There's a thing called Rocket Balloons. And you watch the full video on this, it's crazy. And I show you the blimps. They have blimps that they make that look just like this. This is a blimp. Guess who controls all the helium of the world? Want to take a guess? Moon landing guy?
NASA.
Yes, very good. They control all the helium in the world. And
I got one right for once.
You did. They've demonized hydrogen with the Hindenburg, which is a fake event. Yeah. And so they don't want us having the giant airships that they used to have in the past. Our history is a lie. They had airships back in 1800s or whenever they had them that were carrying thousands of people, like cruise ship size airships traveling all around the world. But no, you can't have that because that's kind of free travel and it could be quite luxurious. But as this thing's falling, we saw something. I think this is the one. We saw something, an anomaly. Let me see if I could find it.
Oh, this is the recovery, right?
Yeah, and we saw something that was kind of cloaked. Let me see. Is this the one? That's not it.
Yeah, that is creepy. Is it?
Yeah. Oh, here it is.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Put in full screen.
Yeah. Hold. This is. I think we're back to the beginning. This is the recovery one. I think. So here's Felix Baumgartner, the Red Bull jump. When he jumps, watch how fast he falls. And this is from the balloon that's not going 20,000 miles an hour in the opposite direction. It's stationary. He's gone in a second. Okay. So here's this thing floating around. And all of a sudden we saw something right there. What is that? So we'll adjust the contrast. We'll slow it down. Watch right there. What is that? Something trying to hide itself. I'll use the word cloaking, but I don't know if that's the right word. What is it? That looks like some sort of quadcopter or something. And we're theorizing that it's a blimp recovery system.
Do you see a tail hook on it? I thought I saw in the video that you showed, looked like there was a tail hook. Yeah.
So here it is with the contrast again.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So what's going on here? I'll tell you what's going on here. NASA's lying. That's what's going on here. So if NASA's lying, why are you going to believe that they went to the moon, which is just absolutely insane, ridiculous, absolute insanity? I know I say that a lot, but that's because it is. Yeah. It's absolutely insane. Yeah. So let's go over to my favorite one is this SpaceX rocket launch, which is have you guys watched any of the upright landings that SpaceX does like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always thought I've always thought that was fake as hell.
Yeah. I was hoping that Elon was the guy, the chosen one, but I've seen so much ever since he supposedly put a car in space. He lost me, man.
I've seen one of those coming into port when I'm eating at Cape.
You saw it landing.
No, I saw it standing upright on the barge. They brought it into the port, but I haven't.
Let's look at this. Look at this. So this is a flat Earth, and then when they change the camera, it goes back to a globe. When it goes back and forth, so this thing is the first stage falling back. These little milk crates are going to land it on a raft 800 miles off the coast of Florida. No one's on the raft. And somehow it's going to land on this tiny little raft with a little tiny flame. This is like 10, 15, 20 tons falling out of the sky. It's going to land on this little raft upright. And they always have like little camera problems. And this is gigantic. Like a truck can drive underneath those legs. It's huge. And it lands on this raft. No problem. No wave, no splash. And, if you think about it, at 40,000 feet, there's 200-mile-an-hour winds going in one direction. And ocean swells and winds. And somehow this thing goes up and lands perfectly. Now look at the curved Earth, right? Curved Earth. And it switches back. But so now we have the ground camera of drone boat 800 miles off. Here it comes, synchronized. Let's watch what happens. And this is all we see. This literally could be like a bottle rocket and a guy just going, beep, and he puts it down. You can't see his hand on the top. Oh. This is just ridiculous. And people just eat this up. And here's one coming down at night, landing. Are you kidding me? And these milk crates are all that stare. And if any of you have been on the ocean, when the hell is the ocean ever calm? Out in the middle of the ocean, there's always swells out there. Occasionally, it's calm. Occasionally.
Yeah, I watched Deadliest Catch. It's never calm.
It's never calm.
Where you say cue the CGI, the Elon Musk one, right? Yeah. That one's hilarious.
So again,
that's when I was like, okay, I'm done with Elon, man. This shit's fake.
Yeah. So this is what I call the grain silo. This is a test shot of penis-looking rocket that is going to go to Mars. And look at this little crappy little stand it's on. So now watch the editing. Edit. Now look how slow this is moving. And this little nice clean flame. Now all the smoke is left behind. Now there's no more smoke. Far camera. Look at all these angles. Now use your mind. How high is this? If we're kind of underneath it, but we can see the side. Oh, now it's really high from the onboard camera. Now it's kind of low. I don't see a whole lot of thrust going on here. Is it still going up? Oh, I guess it is still going up. Now the engines are off. Announcer says it's free falling now. So this thing is free falling. Look at the smoke. How fast is that going? Now watch when it edits. Watch the smoke speed change. Look at it now. Is that 20 tons free falling? Free falling. And wait, where's that? Whoa, look how high it is now. Look how high it is now. How could you even see it from the ground? Now look at it. We have the side view. This looks like one of those old Saturday morning cartoons when I was a kid. Now it's up in the sky again, below the clouds. Different clouds now. Now we have, well, wait a minute. This is weird. And now 3 engines turn on. Edit. Cameraman gets right underneath it. 2 of the engines of their little firework display burn out. So now you got 1 engine on the side landing this thing upright. Ask any engineer how that's possible. And now watch. Here comes the CGI smoke. And it lands upright. Look at this. Look at this thing. And what does that look like? What does that look like? They're perverts.
Yeah.
They're perverts.
Looks like a PP, man.
It looks like a PP. Let's go down that road for a second. This is the first shot that Elon gave us of Earth, and somehow the word sex was in the clouds. Now maybe that's just some chemtrails, and it's just a coincidence. Okay, okay, you want to be like that? You want to be like that? This is Elon's rocket. Maybe I just have a sick sense of humor. Okay, I don't know. You know, maybe that Dave's just a pervert. Okay, maybe I am. Who knows? All right. So here is the Jeff Bezos's rocket. And whenever his rocket that really looks like a penis goes, it's always doing this. The cameraman has epilepsy or something. Not sideways epilepsy, but up down epilepsy. Okay? Look at this. This is every single time they have a launch like this, it's doing this little jerky motion. I don't know. Maybe I'm just,
Wouldn't that make sense? So it's going up so fast to pan and catch it, you have to do the jerky motion?
Never SpaceX or the other rockets, only Blue Origin. Okay. Here's the first flight path trajectory for the Apollo missions. Okay. I don't know. Am I being a child? All right. Maybe I'm just pervert. Okay. So here's the space station. Now I look at their mission patch. This to me looks like a baby in a womb, but I don't think that's not the main point of this one. But they were very excited that they're tired of drinking coffee out of bags and they miss drinking out of a cup. So someone designed a special cup that you can drink in space so the water wouldn't come out, which makes so the coffee doesn't come out. So here's the cup. Can you see this cup? Let's take a closer look. What? And when the girl was drinking at his cup, she's making these goo-goo faces like, no. It's like, look at this thing. This is a vagina. This is, anyone needs an anatomy lesson, look around. This is a vagina. It's a vagina. Okay. and the weird thing is, I'm kind of embarrassed. My wife, I didn't realize she was a big rocket fan because I found her model rocket in her drawer. I was like, this is crazy. I can't believe you believe in that nonsense. All right, just kidding. Not hers.
Your poor wife.
You're a big man for admitting that, Dave. You're a big man for admitting it that you found it.
I have a question for you, Dave.
Go ahead.
Okay. A lot of good information. Really, really great information. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I do know that I've been having conversations with people, for a while now, and I'm a Christian, and with a lot of the things that you're talking about and stuff like that, do you have any kind of, it seems like there's people that are just cannot believe anything, of a religious aspect, and others that do believe. Any of the information or anything that you have, does it give you any kind of understanding as to some type of religious belief or anything like that?
If I understand your question correctly, before I found out the earth was flat, I was, and it's hard to even realize that I was that dumb. I was an atheist. I believed in evolution. I believed in the Big Bang. I believed in it all because belief is easy. It takes no work. You just have to memorize what they tell you. Mm-hmm. And then when I understood that the heliocentric system is insane, it's impossible, I realized that there's a creator. So I don't want to put the word religion on it, but I know there's a creator. I couldn't be doing what I'm doing without the creator having my back. I can't do this by myself. I know that I'm on a mission, and the creator has my back. And you can use any, and I'm very careful with my words. I don't, God, creator. I don't want to tell anybody what the creator is. My job here is to bring people from complete atheism to being lost in the heliocentric model, the heliocentric satanic system, and show them they're at the center of creation. They're powerful beings. There's a creator, and this world is made for us. And then the rest of the journey is their own personal journey.
Wow.
I would actually agree with that sentiment, Dave. I'm a Christian as well, and I think I'm in my mid 40s, and around my early 40s, or I would say late 30s into my early 40s, it's kind of losing my connection to the Creator, my faith in a sense. His life's hard, and all that stuff. So, but it wasn't until I started. I like to say I unplugged from the Matrix. I reconnected, and now I see what it was hidden from me. I think, so I'm on this journey as well. So I'm just looking for the truth. And I found that in truth, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, go ahead, finish. In truth.
No, so in the truth that I've been finding out, and it started with the moon. I'm a big Star Wars guy. I love space and all that stuff. The moon landing, I believed in all that. Once I realized NASA was just a lie, were just lying to me. Not only they're lying to me, but the actual origins of NASA, it was over for me. Now I'm on this journey. I'm just searching for the truth. So, and that's where I'm at now. So it's actually, my faith has definitely been emboldened. I know we didn't go to the moon, and I know there's a creator now, and I believe in intelligent design and all that stuff. So I just wanted to say that. So I can agree with you in that regard.
Yeah. So NASA's founders are a bunch of crazy. You have a cartoon artist and a Scientologist and an ex-Nazi and an occultist. Right? These are the people that founded NASA, allegedly. So again, NASA is insane. But being a Christian, you're a good person. Everyone's a good. The world is made of trusting people that can't fathom the amount of evil that there is, and that's how they get away with it. If you can't imagine the amount of evil that there is, you're not going to see it. It's going to be invisible to you, but you're going to be under its spell. On my app, there's a biblical section. Amazing videos there. There's 200 verses in the Bible that the earth is stationary. Just a little plug here. December 2nd, Pastor Greg Locke from the Mega Global Church in Tennessee. He's one of those super church guys, has a huge congregation, millions and millions of people. He had a meltdown about flat earth, yelling at his parishioners. Is that right? Is that the word?
Parishioners.
Parishioners. Thank you. Yeah. Parishioners. I'm thinking partition. Parishioners. And he challenged Pastor Dean Odell to a debate. And that's happening December 2nd. I'm going to be there. A bunch of people are going to be there. Austin Whitsett's going, I believe, and Matt Long. And
cool.
And this guy is going to have to eat some humble pie. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a massive event. And it's going to wake up a lot of people.
2nd.
Will it wake him up is the question. I don't know how deep his feet are dug in. But if you're a Bible believer or a Bible hater, you got to watch these biblical videos here. They're amazing. They'll change your life.
So tell me about this app. Where can we get the app? You've referenced a few times. What can you do with the app? Like, what is it all about? If you don't mind.
So if you right now, let's say you were looking how to cook a turkey last Thanksgiving or 5 Thanksgivings ago, and you search it on YouTube and you want to find that same video, you can just go to your history and search Thanksgiving, how to cook a turkey, and bam, all of your history that has to do with that topic will show right up. Whether you search it 5 years ago, 5 hours ago, or 5 minutes ago, it'll show up in your history on YouTube. And that's the same for everything. Loch Ness Monster, COVID, whatever you want, it'll show up in your history. Now, if you go to my channel, to Jaronism's channel, to Globebusters, and watch real flat earth videos, they'll be right there in your history while you're looking at it, right? But let a couple days go by, weeks go by, hours, minutes, doesn't matter. You search your history for flat earth, all of them will disappear, and only propaganda videos will show up. That's the only topic that happens with, flat earth. When they were talking about censorship online, conspiracy theories in the congressional hearing, flat earth was the example that they use. Okay? So we know the government lies. We know they don't have our best interests. You know that everything that is the opposite of what they say. That should make you want to look. But my app right here, the app shows you how the flat earth works. The sun is the hour hand. It goes around once a day, keeps track of the hours and the minutes. And if I turn on if I speed it up, you'll see the moon is right in front of it, and it's going to lap the moon. So every 28, 29 times around, it'll lap the moon. So the moon keeps track of the weeks and the moons. There used to be 13 moons of 28 days. And then if I turn the stars on, the stars will lap the sun once a year. So they're going slightly faster. So the sun will drift backwards through each zodiac until it resets after a year. So that's how the sun is in a sign. I never understood, how could the sun be in a sign? The sun's moving, we're spinning. It doesn't make any sense. This is how it makes sense. The wheels in the sky keep on turning. The sun, the moon, and the stars. And then the planets, which are wandering stars, do their thing. But that's just showing you, when you're trying to explain it to lots of people. But what happens is every day, and this is my challenge, my 3 Bitcoin challenge, which I think is what brought you to me. Yes. Every day there's a featured video right here, because if you Google flat Earth, you're going to get the same garbage. You Google David Weiss horizon proof, David Weiss sun fade out, or sun fade out, top 10 flat Earth proofs. You're going to get the same results every time, which are propaganda videos that have nothing to do with your search. You put flat Earth in, you get propaganda. So this bypasses that. And what I tell people is, if you think flat Earth is stupid, good for you. You think the globe is real? Great. Well, the globe is a physical thing. You should be able to prove it. Right? I can prove my computer's physical. I can touch it. I can hit you on the head with it. I can prove it lots of different ways. If the Earth is a globe, all you need to do is find one proof and you win 3 Bitcoins. One proof, 3 Bitcoins. But the thing is, so you don't waste my time, watch the daily video each morning while you're having your breakfast for a week. Okay? I usually do short ones during the week, and not even that long on the weekend. Just watch that for 2 weeks. And at the end of that 2 weeks, if you think the Earth is a globe, which you probably won't, make sure you hit the frequently asked questions, and all of your questions are there. Well, what about seasons? What about circumnavigation? What about the ISS? They're all there. Watch them before you send me some Flat Earth 101 question. So that it has the frequently asked questions. It has images. So let's say someone says, well, what about, I want to show someone about the Southern flight. So you just type in Southern, boom, SOU, and here are all the Southern flight paths. You guys haven't looked into that. Here we are going from South Africa. It goes all the way up to Dubai, Hong Kong, or Malaysia before it goes over to Australia. But if you look at it on a flat Earth map, kind of makes sense. So it has all of that stuff there. So when you're looking for images, again, before I typed in LEM, Moonlander, there it is. There's the LEM. You can show somebody, look how absolutely ridiculous this is. You can find anything. We're adding more and more images all the time. How about the moon buggy? There we go. This is my favorite one right here. So in 1970, for $38 million, you can get these 2 beach chairs and this beach umbrella on this Jeep chassis for $38 million. But today, in inflated dollars, it's only $37 million to get this bad boy. Okay? Does that make any sense to you guys?
Makes no sense, man.
Right?
How much money does NASA get?
And they left
you
that
say
there,
they left everything. NASA gets $80 million a day. That's what they supposedly get. I think they get like 4,000.
Dave, I know we only got you for an hour, man, and I can go
a little over. I can go a little over.
Great. If you don't mind, because this is definitely going to spark a lot of questions.
And our legend has joined us.
It is. Let me just show you. Let me just show you a few other things. I now have a video search. So like you're looking for that specific. Hey, Dave was on InfoWars. I want to see that. So just type in InfoWars and search up. And actually, the reason it just shut down is because Google is screwing with us. We're doing an update tomorrow, so it would pull up the video. That's a whole long story. But the other thing is in here we have books. Right? There's tons of books, kids books, adult books. Amazing 16 emergency landings, great book.
I actually just ordered that one, the 16. It actually came in the other day. I haven't looked at it yet, but I heard you reference it, so I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, and then whoever said they like Star Wars, I think everyone likes Star Wars. This book is Star Wars here on Earth. It makes sense here on Earth. It's amazing. It's literally Star Wars here on Earth with external ponds. Again, I talk about what's beyond. This is called The Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Wall. And it's short, it's big type pictures, and you can read it in a very, very short time. But it's amazing. There's actually 3 books. It's amazing. Now, is it true? Maybe. Maybe there's truth to it. Maybe it's partially true. Maybe it's all true. I don't know. Again, we don't need to go beyond the shoreline of Antarctica or above the firmament to prove the Earth is level plane. And I want to, in a minute, just let me finish this. And I just want to go back to Earth and space being next to each other. It's impossible. So we have a homeschool section, tons of stuff, crows in here, Austin Whitsitt, Schooling Globers, all sorts of stuff. You want to learn about our past? Check out this guy, My Lunch Break. Mind-blowing. And this guy, Jake, I'm the Improbable Dreamer. Bring food and water if you click those buttons, because you're going to be in a rabbit hole that there is no bottom to. It is absolutely amazing. And then the last thing is the Friend Finder, which is amazing, is shows you where other people are around you, and you can message them. You can look at their profiles. People are using it as a dating app. They're using it as a true friend finder, as a way to find people to work for them or with them. People are getting together, meetups. This is people say flat Earth is dying. No, it's not. No, it's not. These are just the people that have the friend finder on my app. So it's worldwide. Look at the UK. It's crazy.
You can't say that on this channel, man. Worldwide.
Well, I can say worldwide. I can say around the world, but I can't say.
There you go.
Around the world. You can go around your neighborhood. Does that make it a sphere? Right. So nowhere in a lab or in nature. So forget the anomalies on the moon landing. Forget the nonsense. Just think about it. Space is a vacuum, a void of no pressure. Nowhere in a lab or in nature can you have high pressure next to low pressure without a physical barrier. You can't do it because it instantly equalizes. If you open up a soda can, it's equalizing instantly into the room. If you had a big box, a lucite box, and you sucked all the air out of it, so now you have this vacuum chamber, and you opened up a valve on the bottom, the air is going to violently fill right into it. It's going to push right into it. It's going to go in so fast, it's going to be shocking. And no matter where you open that, any altitude, anywhere, it's going to do that. So how can the air on Earth be adjacent to a void? And because that vacuum, like I can drink through a straw, how can the weak low pressure system of my lungs pull water and air up and away from gravity if gravity's holding the air down?
Well,
right?
Well,
it's insane.
The answer is gravity. Well, because of gravity, right? I actually heard something. I think it was Austin Whitsitt when he was talking about electrostatics. I think you talk a little bit about that. So that was really interesting to me. That kind of put me on a different journey. Because when you understand how, if gravity is a theory, that's what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, it
certainly is.
Theory. NASA, everybody says that, but it's not as strong as electrostatics, right? Or something like that.
Let's talk about that. And I talk about it all the time, but it's worth hearing it again if those of you that heard it. So first, gravity can hold the air molecule down. What's heavier, an air molecule or a water molecule? The water molecule would be heavier.
Sure. How
come clouds float with millions of tons of water in them?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all a lie. This is all of that is a lie. Yes, clouds are made of moisture. I think clouds are a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother podcast. This is what we think down is. Down is down. This is crazy, right? Crazy. We think down is the same direction for everybody. But the globe, while it's spinning, down is, everyone's feet point down. This guy's down is up, and this guy's down is down, and this guy's down is sideways, and this guy's down is inwards. Or maybe just down is down. Okay? They want us to believe in insanity things. So here's a balloon, and it's hanging over because of gravity, supposedly. If I turned up the gravity dial, so this is 1G, if I turned it up 10 times, would it stretch that balloon down a little bit? In theory, probably, right? Because the balloon would be 10 times heavier, and it would stretch the rubber. Well, now I put a little air in this. Guess what? The rubber is being stretched in every direction. This air is trying to escape in every direction, including up. So the air is stronger than gravity, but somehow gravity can hold the air down? It makes no sense because it makes no sense. You can't figure it out, not because you're not smart enough, because it makes no sense. It's dumb. And people like, oh, I can't figure it out, but a guy in a lab coat, he's the one that figured it out, and I gotta believe it because it's in the textbook, and I got an A because I listened to it. Walter Lewin, all the forces that hold this world together are electrostatic. Yep. And so how can we test that? And we can. So here is, where is it? Where is it? Body problem. Things are moving all over the place for me. So here is, we have this tinfoil triangle, and we put a negative charge into it. So the Earth has a negative charge, and when we put a negative charge into something, it goes up. And if we can maintain that negative charge, it'll stay up in the air. Electrostatic propulsion. Maybe they're hiding that from us too. That from us also. So the opposite of that is, we got these helium balloons, and it's neutrally just holding this. We have just a button wrapped up on here with some tape, and it's just floating a couple inches over the floor. This wire goes to a Van der Graaf generator, and we're going to crank it up, and we're going to put a positive charge into it. And when we do that, it goes down. Did we change gravity, or did we change the electrostatic potential? And we discharge it, goes back up. Are we manipulating gravity, or are we manipulating electrostatics? Here is the silent drone. They say it runs on ionic wind. Whoops. Where's it? It's from MIT. This thing has no moving parts. It's just changing the electrostatic field. It's keeping a negative charge when it's moving through the air, which is positively charged, and it's flying. No moving parts. Are they hiding this type of propulsion from us? Because it would be amazing, right? So you have all of this. And now they're not, this is what they tell us. They tell us that the electrostatic charge is 10, I think it's 26. It might be 36, but let's just say it's 10 to the 26 power stronger than gravity. I think it's 10 to the 26. 10 to the 26. 10 to the 26 stronger than gravity. Do you know how big that number is? A trillion. Remember how big a trillion was? 31,000 years and seconds. A trillion is 10 to the 12th power, right? 10 to the 12th power is a trillion. So 13th power is 14. Each time you add another zero, it's 1,000 times bigger. All the way up to 26. What that means, because it's revelation of the method, if you ask me, is that gravity isn't measurable. Like if I had a 45-pound weight plate and it was only gravity, which was 10 to the 26 less strong than the electrostatic force, if I let it go, I think it would take 1 billion years before it hit the ground because there's nothing pulling it down that is significant. 10 to the 26 power stronger than gravity, stronger than the electrostatic force. And the example I use is, what if I gave you like you said something about my girlfriend, I punch you in the shoulder, and you're like, all right, I deserve that. If I punch you 100 times harder, might send you to the floor. 1,000 times harder, it'd probably break your back. 100,000 times, you're dead. Okay? 1,000,000 times, you're through the floor into the ground and your body can't be found. Okay? 1 billion times harder, I think the entire neighborhood would explode. Okay? 1 trillion times harder, I can't even fathom what it would do. They would think a nuclear bomb went off, right? That's 10 to the friggin' 12th. Okay? I got to go all the way up to 26 to equal what they say the electrostatic force is. They're lying. The electrostatic force is exactly what it is. It's a weak force, and gravity is not existent if it was real.
What about the theory of general relativity? We have a bunch of comments, Dave.
Yeah.
Our
The
audience
theory of general relativity. When they talk about gravity, you have Newtonian gravity, where mass attracts mass, and we can just prove that that's not the case. Why doesn't a plumb bob tilt towards Mount Everest? How come they all go straight down? And then they say, well, it's Einsteinian bending warping of space-time. Do you know what the bending and warping of space-time is? Can you explain it?
No.
You know why you can't explain it? Because nobody can. It's all made up nonsense. It's ridiculous. So you want to go, there was a group of Austrian scientists, like 100 of them back in Einstein's day that all got together and saying Einstein is leading the world in a very bad direction into a pseudoscience of all just equations that have absolutely no meaning. They literally ousted him, but the media, the governments are like, nope, Einstein's the man, and he's just a puppet. He's just a puppet. I think Einstein was an idiot. And they just used him to create general relativity, to hold up their Big Bang model. And it's all nonsense. You have God-given common sense. And
well,
most people
do anyway.
Well, we all do, but a lot of us just give it away. They just give it away.
Now, what's your thoughts on weather balloons and people actually sending cameras up and seeing the curvature?
No one's seen curvature. Neil deGrasse Tyson says that you can't see curvature at 120,000 feet. They keep moving the globe post every time we show them. Oh, you can't see curvature from an airplane, and then they're like, "Well, you have to go in a MiG fighter." And then the MythBusters went up, and they're look the curvature. I can see the curve of the Earth, but then they had one camera that was looking out the back that didn't have a fisheye lens on it, or wasn't looking through a curved window, and there was the horizon at eye level. And then so Neil deGrasse Tyson comes out, he goes, well, you got to be up at 120,000 feet. So then we looked at Felix Baumgartner's jump, and we showed that was perfectly flat because we send balloons up and we have this perfectly flat horizon. So Neil had to come out and go, no, he was using a fisheye lens. You can't see the curvature from that height. You're tiny, And so they keep moving the globe post. So 120,000 feet. So I want to show you a series of pictures, and you tell me which one is from NASA. Okay? I'll give you a hint. This one is not. This is from one of our balloons. Then you have this one. And then you have that one. This one, 2, 3, or 4. Can you guess which one's from NASA?
4.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Right?
Get a
flat. So here's the other thing. So the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, right? So it's spinning to the east. A balloon goes up. It spins to the east. That balloon should come down west. If the balloon's up for 3.5 hours, it should come out like 3,000 miles to the west. But we send balloons up, and sometimes they land to the east of where. So that means they went up. They sped up faster than the spin of the Earth and landed in front of the spin. You know why you can't make sense of that in your head? Because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But wouldn't if they were in the Earth's...
if everything's rotating with the Earth, but a summer breeze can blow the wind left and right, and
I'm just trying to say, like, if you're if you're in the Earth,
he's trying to win that Bitcoin, Dave.
No, I get it.
It's kind of like being in a plane. Like if you jump on a plane, you go down at the same section because you're in that.
Yeah, so if you want to compare the plane to the spin of the Earth, you have to first double the speed of the airplane because the airplane's only going 500 miles an hour. Then you have to take off the outer shell of the airplane because there is no outer shell over the Earth. And then you have to nosedive as fast as a skydiver without a parachute just to follow the curve of the Earth at that speed. You have to be going like a mile a minute downwards. And then let me know. Let me know how your little jump is doing at that point. Okay, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Balloons go up. So this balloon goes up and has to travel 1,000 miles an hour to keep up with the Earth, and so does this one. What does this one have to do? This one just has to go like this. Right? It just has to spin around. All right? And what if there was one here? It's going to go this way. And what's it going to do? How is it going to go around? Think about this. The Earth is spinning. If you're on the equator, the centrifugal force would make you stand tall. If you're here, the centrifugal force should make you fall towards the equator. The centrifugal force, like if I put little strings, taped onto here, and I spun this really fast, all of them would go parallel to the equator. So up here, it would be pointing out there. Here, it would be pointing out there. At the equator, it would be pointing straight out. Bottom, it would be pointing, all of them would be parallel because of centrifugal force. So in the farther north you go, the more you should be falling towards the equator because of the centrifugal force. But Dave, the Earth only spins once per day. Look at the hour hand on a clock. That's going twice as fast because it goes around twice a day. It's not the angular speed that matters. It's the linear speed that matters. Right? If you were on a merry-go-round that went around once per day, you couldn't even tell it was moving. You'd be like, this is really boring. But then you expand that merry-go-round to 24 miles in circumference. Now it's going a mile an hour. It's still pretty slow. Then you expand it to the size of the entire Earth, 24,000 miles around for easy number. Now it's going 1,000 miles an hour. If you're sitting on that outside horse, you're going 1,000 miles an hour, and you're taking a left-hand or right-hand turn at a mile a minute. You're going to die. And that's only going around once a day. Linear speed is what matters, not angular speed.
All right, Dave. So if the planet is flat, if the
world is flat, it's not a planet.
If the world is flat, okay?
Yeah.
If I'm going north and south, right? If I had the ability to fly north and completely keep flying north, what happens? Am I falling off the edge, or am I ending up in Antarctica? What's happening when I go north and south?
Yeah. So let's this is a good question, but it's a very, very easy question. So I'm gonna show you in a second if I could just find my, here it is, circumnavigation. All right. So on a flat Earth, here we are. I have a neodymium magnet right here. You can do this yourself. And this is my plane or my boat. It's a compass. And the needle is pointing towards the North Pole. This is the North Pole at the center of our pond. We live in a big pond. All the continents are islands. Okay? So here it is. So if that's north, what's 90 degrees to north? You know?
South.
West.
Yeah, west, yeah.
West. And east is with this way. Now, if this is north, what direction is this? I'm going away from north.
Yeah,
opposite
south.
of north.
South.
That would be south. What direction is this?
South.
South, because north is to my back. What direction is this?
South.
South. Every direction away from north is south. So now, as I try to push this compass, maintaining a direction of 270 degrees west, I have to constantly turn to the right, correcting to the north to maintain my 270. And guess what? I come right back to where I started from. I circumnavigated the Earth going west, and I could do the same thing east. The needle points towards the center. East is a circle. Now, this does not prove that the Earth is flat because it's the same on a globe, at least in the north. Okay? Now, if I try to dead reckon west, which means I'm not going to correct. So here I am. There's north. So there, that stick is pointing west. And if I don't turn, I'm heading south.
Mm-hmm.
I don't turn, I'm heading south. That's south, that's south, that's south, and that's south, and that's south. It doesn't matter where you go. If you go in a straight line, you're going to hit Antarctica. Watch this. On a globe, I should be able to go south and pop up over here, but I can't do that on a flat Earth. So on a flat Earth, I go south, and I never come back. I'm gone. I'm out. I'm going off to the next planet. Piece of the plane. I'm going north, 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 and as I pass the north, the compass does a 180. Now I'm heading south, and I'm off. So if we look at Amelia Earhart, she circumnavigated the Earth. I forget if she went east or west, but here are all the stops she made. So this would be east, 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 all the way around. You walk around your neighborhood. Does that mean your neighborhood's a sphere? The North Pole's at the center. This is south. What's out here? I love speculating about that, but we don't know. In the book section on the app, there's a great book, The Navigator Across the Ice Wall, The Smoky God, the Iron Republic. Fantastic. Fantastic. And it's all stories about people that have gone beyond Antarctica and found more land.
Oh,
Admiral Byrd. Wait, one thing. Don't forget your question. Don't forget your question. Said from Middle America, right here, he went beyond the South Pole and found land bigger than the United States filled with resources. Well, beyond the South Pole is right here. Do you think South Africa or Australia would know that there's a continent as big as the United States or bigger right next to it? Of course they would. Well, that eliminates this prison for your mind. And it opens up to, from Middle America, he went out here. What's out there? What's out there? That's a great question. And there's lots to say about it. But people, this is, so let me show you this.
We have a good question in the comments.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
The
All
equator.
right,
why is the equator warmer?
Oh, beautiful. I love that.
If it's flat.
Yeah, it's very, very, very easy. Let me see if I have seasons over here. By the way, on the app, under the frequently asked questions, seasons is a great one. So where's a good one for you? Seasons. Well, you know, I'll just show you on the app. It's easy. It's easy. So when you bring a heat source closer to you, it's warmer. Wouldn't you agree?
Agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So here we go. I don't know if you can. I'll make this a little bigger so you can see it. So the sun is almost near that outer yellow line, and that's the Tropic of Capricorn. It'll be there on December 21st. And then from December 21st to June 21st, it'll work its way in towards that inner yellow circle called the Tropic of Cancer. So let's jump forward. We'll go from it's November. So in December, it moves out there. So this is the beginning of December. And so South America is having their summer because the sun is going directly over them. So it's high in the sky. The sun's going to go right over Australia. It's their summer. And it's our winter. I'm in Connecticut. The sun is farther away. When it's farther away, it's like a streetlight that's farther away. It's lower in the sky. And then 6 months later, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the sun will move into the Tropic of Cancer. And it's warm in Mexico because it goes right over Mexico. It's warm over Miami because it goes over Miami. The inner north has the sun closer. So let's say one of you guys came to visit me here in February. It's freezing cold. We go outside and we're sitting outside. We're sitting 20 feet apart because we don't want to infect each other with the boogeyman. And we're drinking our beers and it's freezing outside. Okay? It's freezing. Right? And then one of the moon landing landing believers comes over and he holds a big, I got a post, 15 feet high, 15 feet long post with a big heat lamp and holds it directly 15 feet over your head. So you're like, oh, it's good. You take off your coat, your beer melts, you're good. I'm 20 feet away. And I say to you, I said, where is that heat source, that sun? And you're like, oh, it's right up there. And you're pointing right up at it and you're warm. And I look at it, I'm cold. And I go, well, it's not up there for me. It's over there. It's lower in the sky, even though it's still 15 feet above the level field that we're on. So then he walks over to me, takes him 6 months maybe. And I watch that sun get higher and higher and higher and higher. I get warmer and warmer because it's getting closer to me. It's not actually getting higher. It's getting closer. So everything in between the two tropics is the tropics. This is where all the tropical land is because the sun will pass over them twice a year. Here in the north, it never even passes over us. It comes towards us and it goes away and then it comes back again. So when you're in here, inside of the Tropic of Cancer, you're in the Arctic zone. Okay, the Arctic and the Antarctic is the south. So think about this. What is the sun doing? Let me speed it up. What is the sun doing? If you're anywhere inside of this yellow circle, the sun is arcing around you. Do you agree with that? Mm-hmm. Arcing?
Yeah.
So the Arctic, to me, It's talking about the sky clock and how it's arcing around you. Now, if you were out here, is the sun arcing around you? No, you're in the Antarctic. So it's antarcing. It's coming towards you and away from you. The sky clock is telling you the truth. But people have been blinded for it. You know what the controller said? It goes, we'll give them time, but we'll make the hour hand go around twice a day so they never figure out where they are. They will never figure out the sky is the clock. So the tropics are the warm areas that the sun passes over twice, and that the sun leaves, it warms it up more and more each day. It has a positive heating. Right now in Connecticut, we're losing a little heat every day. But when the sun's coming back in, April and May, we're gaining heat every day. So it's accumulating and it gets hotter and hotter all the way to July. And then August, it starts cooling off again. That's how seasons work. Seasons make absolutely no sense on the globe whatsoever. Hit the frequently asked questions section. Hit the seasons button right there. And you're going to find a whole bunch of videos that Google is hiding from you. That will teach you about the seasons. They're really well done, and Google won't let you find them. There you go. That's better. So these videos are hidden. Why are they hiding them from you? Why don't they want you to know? Why don't they want you to know? And the answer is because if you knew what this place was, they wouldn't be able to control you. When people know that they don't have to pay taxes, that they don't have to participate, that God, man and God are above government. Government's trying to get above all of that. Government's trying to make, destroy the family, destroy your belief in God. I believe it's Romans 1 that says, once you see my creation, you'll get to know the invisible part of God. I'm butchering the quote. You'll get to know the non-physical part or the invisible part of God through his creation. They're hiding his creation. They're hiding God. They don't want you to know the true power that you have. They don't want you to know anything. They don't want you to know about our history. I think there was 100 billion people here a couple hundred years ago. And when we have a collective consciousness that big, they lose control. So they know they got to keep the population down. And they do it all different ways. They do it through poisons. They do it through war. They do it through finance. What's the number one reason people don't have kids or have more kids? College. They're afraid. I can't, right? College is a huge scam. Huge scam.
It's a scam in itself. Yeah.
And I tell people, if you have kids that are getting ready for college, even if you save money for them, buy them like a duplex, and so they can rent it out and have passive income. Get them a business. Do something. Don't send them to college. Send them to Crow University. It's $8 a month, right? In the homeschool section. Just start listening to Crow, and you'll learn. You'll have a kid that's more useful in this world than all of the bull crap that they're going to teach you in these universities and put you into debt. It's all about that. It's all about being in debt, and who knows what else they'll make you do while you're there.
So Dave, you kind of touched upon my question was what's the big picture here is why all of this. So I'm not saying that I believe everything that you say, but I do love the fact that you've said, hey man, here are the facts, here are the things that I've uncovered, and make an informed decision for yourself. So I love the fact that you're sparking that thought process, and I think each individual has to go on that journey. But my question was, so what's the bigger picture? And you just touched upon that, and I guess that's the control, right?
It's all about control. What difference does the shape make? Makes no difference. It makes a difference about where you are. You can't fight a spiritual war if you don't know that you're in one. You can't have your feet planted solid on the ground if you're on a spinning ball flying through an infinite space vacuum. You don't know your true power. If you're living in fear and lack, if you believe that we're running out of food, that we're, the global warming, that you're afraid of nuclear bombs. Oh my God, they're going to start a nuclear war. Nuclear bombs don't exist. What? Oh my God, Dave, you're crazy. What about Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Let's go to Crow and look up episode. I think it's 30035 and 400. If not, just email them and say, or just search their site for nuke hoax. And don't believe it. Look at what they're saying, and then you'll look back and go, wow, how did they ever fall for that? It's all about fear. It's all about fear. And so now you know, when people watch television, I haven't watched television in years. The commercials, they're all like drug commercials and stuff. You watch those commercials, you know how they say the side effects may include rectal bleeding, death, and all of that is done on purpose because they want that going into your programming. Because if you hear that, it's casting a spell on you, and it's going to make you sick. And you're watching television, watching that shit gives you cancer. Period. And all of that is literally to keep you down, keep you scared. But you know, and they're watching the news and they're like, you know, if this stuff keeps going on here, this is going to spark a nuclear war and we should do this. And when you hear that, if you believe in nuclear war, every cell in your body is now at dis-ease. You're literally like, oh, this is, I wish these, you know, even if you hate the governments and think that they're stupid, you're fearing false evidence appearing real about nuclear bombs. But then if you've done your research and use your God-given common sense and you realize, not believe, know that nuclear bombs don't exist, then you hear something about, oh, and it could spark a nuclear war, and you're like, ha, joke, and you're done. You literally laugh it off. When I watch, if I watch a clip of the news and I hear anyone say nuclear bomb, I literally laugh. I'm like, what a clown. What a clown. You know, there's even great people like Stu Peters. He's one of the leaders out there. A lot of people think he's a shill. He's doing so good, and he's also a flat earther, and he's tweeting stuff all the time. But he keeps reporting on nuclear bombs, like though this could start a nuclear threat. I'm like, Stu, when are you gonna look at the evidence? If you don't look, you'll never know. But you know, the nuclear thing is right up there. It's so ingrained because when I was a kid, we had duck and cover in school. Well, if a nuclear bomb's going to go off, we're going to hide under our desks and put our hands over our heads. What? Yeah. What? That's trauma. Again, this is all, you know, these drills that they're doing with kids in school, active shooter drills. This is just to keep kids this is to keep kids on medication. The stated pharma, you know, big pharma says they want every kid on 3 lifelong medications minimum before they're out of school, right? That's the whole idea. They want to keep us drugged and sick and scared and living in lack, when the truth is nature takes care of everything. The one thing they can't corrupt is pure nature, but they're sure trying, you know, with everything else. So this is all about control. And every flat earther, when I showed you all those blue dots, they're all awake and aware. They're good people. And this awakening is coming faster and faster. I'm doing everything I can to accelerate it. Austin's out there. Jaren's out there. And we're going on bigger and bigger shows all the time. So, you know, Dave, we're one tweet away, one show away from waking up the whole world.
Yeah,
I like that.
Definitely, I see a lot of traction. I remember it being kind of in the news around 2012-ish, 2014, and then it kind of just went away. You know, I never really looked into it. I was actually more involved in Bitcoin, and that was my whole thing. But nice. A question I have for you, and I appreciate you going about a lot longer than you allotted for us.
Thanks, man.
I have a question for you, if you don't mind. Like, what got you on this journey? Like, why flat Earth? I knew and I was telling Chris about how I found you. You know, I know you went into the conspiracies, 9/11, and those things, and we love conspiracy. So he and I always talk these things. So, what started your journey in this, and why are you here now, like pushing the flat Earth? Go ahead.
I'll tell you about that. Absolutely. So, when people say conspiracy, you know, that's a weaponized term from the CIA about the Kennedy assassination. Mm-hmm. Yep. People say, I don't believe in conspiracies. Well, what's a conspiracy? It's when 2 or more people conspire together for their own benefit. Conspiracies happen in your own house with your own family members. Okay, so to think that people in government aren't going to conspire, you're I'm going to say it, retarded. And so I was I watched, I think it was the show Money Masters, about what is money, or maybe it was before Money Masters, I forget. And I was like, what the hell is money? And I was trying to figure it out. Then I found out about the IRS and the Federal Reserve, how they're not even government agencies, and started looking into all of that. And then you know, 9/11 happened, and you know, I actually didn't look into that right away for a couple of years, you know, because I actually saw it myself from across. I'm on the water here in Connecticut. I had a full shot of downtown, and that just didn't look right. So then we started a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, me and my buddy Tim. And we were both the truth seekers, and Mike, the comedian, tried to turn everything into a fart joke, and it was a great mix. And so I was exposing all of the big hoaxes, and I had one thing called Exposing the Big Three. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but if you look into it, the New York event, the Connecticut event, and the Boston running event are all not what they say. And so I
agree.
Yeah. And so I was waking people up to that. But what I noticed is they'd wake up to it and they just didn't care. They'd forget about it. They go back to sleep and they're like, well, the different administration and, that person's dead or whatever. And they're not getting it. Right. So then in the third year of the podcast, people started sending me Flat Earth. David, you look into Flat Earth. First person, I was like, oh, that's a joke. And then it kept coming. People posting on our wall. I'm like, get this shit off our wall. Delete. Ban. And then I was getting really annoying. And then my friend Sophia Smallstorm, a 9/11 researcher and a lot of other stuff. She's like, Dave, I said to her, there's so much. We were looking into the one stupid shooting event that was totally not real. And I said, there's so much deception in this world. It's hard to fathom. And she goes, David, I think it's worse than that. I think the earth might be flat. And I'm like, not you too. And she's like, here, watch these videos. And she sent me Mark Sargent's Clues. I recommend that any of you watch that. It's on the app, under the web button. Just go to Clues.
Yeah. I just started watching that. Yeah.
No, it's a good starting point. And also the cloak of credibility, the white lab coat, the section. That's one of my favorites. So I watched that and I went in with a bad attitude. I'm just going to prove the globe and disprove flat earth. And I came out the other side a couple weeks later going, holy crap. And that's when my whole life changed. So then I didn't even want to talk about it on the podcast yet. I'm like, I don't want to scare all our listeners away. And I've made so much progress with them waking up if I tell them the earth is flat. And then after literally a couple of weeks, maybe a month, I was like, if I don't tell them the truth, I'm not doing my job. And so I did, and the podcast blew up. My partners couldn't even handle it anymore. So after 3 years, we kind of they handled it okay for a while, but we kind of let that go. And then I started the Flat Earth podcast because there was 0 podcasts on the Flat Earth, and that kind of went viral. And I did that for a while, and then I realized this is literally the most important topic of our time. With all of the stuff going on with kids and wars and food and just everything. All of the stuff that's going on in the world, all of it happens on a flat earth. And if you don't know where you are, that's how they're getting away with all of it. It's all been getting away because people are lost in space, spinning out of control and powerless. They think that they're powerless. They think that they have to give away 40% of their money every year, right? They think a lot of things that they shouldn't be thinking. And they're lost. So at one point, and I was in corporate America, and then I worked for a big solar firm, and I built a commercial division. And me and the guy that built the commercial division, we left there and we started our own company, a solar commercial development company, and we were doing really well. We became like the biggest in the East Coast, and we were growing fast. And then I'm out there doing my true stuff and lambasting people, posting stuff. And I'm posting stuff about certain lawyer firms that were representing certain, fake events. And then that was crossing over because these are lawyers that are working on some of our deals through other clients. And my partners were like, Dave, what the hell's going on? And I realized, they're like, it's going to all come back to us. And they were actually right. They were right. So I said, I'm out. And I left. I walked away from the American friggin' dream. I worked my entire life. I went through college. I went through corporate America. I started my own company. I'm a CEO of my own company. I'm making plenty of money. And I walked away from it all to do this, to talk to you, to talk to people. Because if people don't get their heads out of their asses and find out where we are and what's going on and take their power back, we're going into the friggin' dark ages. And very soon you'll own nothing and be happy. That's what they want. Right?
Well,
but
Dave,
we have the power to take it back.
I think what ends up happening, I think when first of all, I think it's hard for people to process. And I always tell people, if you have a strong belief in something, you need to get to the root of where that belief comes from. And I think that's kind of what this is all about, right? Where does that belief come from? So when you expose some of these things, people, first of all, it's hard for them to grasp. It's hard for them to wrap their heads around. But then, even if it does sink in, even if it does get through, people are like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do about it? Like you almost have that helpless feeling, if that makes sense.
It doesn't matter. I'm only one person. What could I do?
Sure.
One person in the know is more powerful than a million people living in a delusion. Okay. When I heard that, I'm like, that's not true. It is true. It is true, because nobody can, they're not allowed to bring, so this is where people are like, I don't believe that. And they're not allowed to take away your free will. So if you hold your position, hold your truth, and follow God's law or natural law or whatever you want to call it, which means don't kill anybody, mind your own friggin' business, be nice to everybody. And, you don't have to give your power away. They can't take it from you. The only time that you have to do stuff is when you agree to it, right? And you have to understand how this works. If they say, hey, I want you to stick this thing in your arm, and you don't say no, you say gladly, when you can show me that all those ingredients were tested and proven not to hurt anybody, and and just give them your counter, and you'll never have to do anything you don't want to do. So it's a whole, commerce and contract law that, people don't understand how this world works. They don't understand who they are. So there you go.
So do you also, I guess, subscribe to the state nationals and all that kind of stuff with the contract, as far as your, being a citizen and everything's contract and, commercial law and all that stuff?
So the truth is there's a whole bunch of different ways to look at all of this stuff. And that is one of them. And I am very, very interested in doing that. And it's getting easier and easier to do it. Jaron is looking into it. I think he's doing it right now. But there's other ways that are easier. Okay. Jaron always says, if you want to be rich, invent something that makes people lazier. Okay. And that's the truth. Fast food, you don't have to shop. You don't have to cook, right? You don't have to clean. Fast food. What makes fast food even lazier? DoorDash. You don't even have to go get it. Okay. There's other ways that are literally easier than doing the state national thing. So if anybody wants to know about that, I got a guy. Well, he'll give you a 15-minute call for free, and he'll tell you all about it. So if you're tired of giving away large sums of money to thieves that aren't even government employees, I highly recommend you talk to this guy. You can email me at info@theflatearthpodcast.com. I'll send you a link. You can sign up. And all you got to do is listen and then walk away if you don't want to do it. And I'll just tell you one thing. Everyone that eventually does it, when they do it, they go, why didn't I listen years ago? Why didn't I do this years ago? Everyone says the same freaking thing. So
yeah, I've been going down that rabbit hole myself. I think I've even shared it with you, Kryptonian.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm on the same spectrum.
It is just that, man. It is a rabbit hole, and that's definitely something I'm going to take you up on, because I've been, like I said, that's of real interest to me, and I find it fascinating. Yeah. It
is mind blowing, on how simple it is and how legal it is,
and it makes sense too when it's broken down and you look at it. It makes sense.
So along with your 3 Bitcoins, by providing 1 globe proof, you can get 300,000 fiat dollars if you can find the line in the tax code that says an individual person is responsible for paying federal taxes.
Yeah, there's a law that says you have to pay taxes. There isn't one. Yeah,
there's actually a court case out there that the prosecutors had to drop the case because they couldn't.
But so people argue that the amendment to the Constitution says that they can legally tax you and all that type of stuff.
It's nonsense. But I'll tell you when you do have to pay taxes. When you fill out your tax form and sign it, and that says you owe taxes. Yeah. Okay? That's crazy, right?
Yep.
It's crazy.
That's definitely going to be a whole other podcast for sure, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I want to make a crypto comment, which is people like, what are you going to do with crypto? People argue about crypto. It's like, you need to turn it into money and everything. So with what happened in Acapulco, you guys are familiar with what happened in Acapulco, right? With the hurricane destroyed the place, and no one's going in to help. Yeah. And Jeff Berwick started this fund, and people can donate through regular GoFundMe, and then also Monero, Bitcoin, and everything else. and they got a ton of crypto donations. Well, GoFundMe wouldn't release the money for like 10 days. So these people have nothing, and GoFundMe, but the crypto, within an hour, they were buying food with it.
Yep.
Okay.
The beauty of it.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I love
Amazing.
me some Monero. Yep. Monero.
Yep.
Monero.
It's the beauty of it.
That's how actually I heard about Jaronism. I mean, he was doing some crypto. I think it was last year sometime.
He does crypto consulting. It's on.
I was actually watching one of his shows where he was talking about Bitcoin and Monero and those types of things, and so that's how I subscribed him for that. Then I know I've seen him on the Globe Busters or something like that, right? And I wasn't really interested in that stuff until I started talking to Greek up there about we kind of get into these discussions about how NASA's fake, right? And then here we are, right? So definitely opened up my. I will say this. I'm definitely, you've given me some things to look into 100%. So, I've got your app, right. And I've had it because of Crow 777, right. I mean, that's how I found him, because I remember you talking about it. But, one of the things that us being crypto guys was like, hey guys, let's just go ahead and just snatch this through Bitcoin. This is going to be easy, and it's not that easy. You've given me some things to
listen.
really
you're
think
talking
about.
to a Jew here that doesn't want to give away his 3 Bitcoins. Okay,
I can respect that, right? I can respect that. But all right, so I saw a comment here by a guy named he's one of our mods. His name is Biz, and I've heard you talk about this, and this could be the last question, Dave, if you allow. Talking about when you were talking about the circumnavigation, either the globe or flat Earth, it doesn't determine if we're on a ball or not. But what about from north to south? Why don't we just go to Antarctica, right? And show you that that we can pop out on the other side. Why can't we do that? I've looked into the Antarctic Treaty, and my understanding is, and I like to say this to some people about, I kind of use this now, is the governments are concerned about, or I would say the governments of the world, when they talk about space specifically, this is my thing. This is why I say space is fake. Is I'll ask them, is Russia an enemy of the United States? And they're like, well, of course. China, well, of course. So we're mortal enemies, right? We're mortal enemies, except in space. We're in a spaceship in space, but they're buddies, right? And they're like,
think about this.
But because of science, I'm like, get that shit out of here, man.
All of the conflicts in the world, all the countries are fighting over everything, but they agree on 2 things: can't go to Antarctica, and you have to get that thing stuck in your arm. All right. So, that's weird. That's weird.
Let's not go down that route.
So you're definitely going to want to mention
piss me off.
You're going to want to mention the fact not many people even know about the Antarctica thing. I forgot about that.
Here are the 8 bases. One of them, the Falkland Islands. Remember that weird war? Like, why are they having a war down there? These are all, UN crown-controlled military bases. They have buoys, that will detect a boat. Radar buoys that will stop you from going anywhere. This is, you're not allowed to go beyond 60 degrees south. There's 100 companies that will. You can go to Antarctica for $10,000 to $60,000 for 3 days, and you only get to go to this little tip right here, this little island, Rothschild Island or Deception Island. You get to choose. Maybe you don't get to choose.
That's and
yeah, and they don't let you. They don't let you look out there. Like, what's going on out there? And the question is. What is going on out there? Right? This is the ice wall, the shoreline of Antarctica. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. What else? What else want to show you? Here's Admiral Byrd on TV talking about, Project High Jump. What's behind him? Flat Earth clock. The map of the world with a clock. Truth in plain sight. They're always telling us what we do, what's going on. But want to speculate for a moment?
Sure.
So
we're in crypto.
Here is
please do.
Yeah. So again, we don't need to go beyond where we are to prove the Earth is flat, right? Before I go here, let me just show you one more thing. So here is a lake, frozen lake. So this guy's on the frozen lake, and he set up his camera barely 6 inches off the ground, off the ice. He set up these lasers at 8, 7, 6, and 5 miles away, just a foot off the ice. And he's filming all of them. There should be, and I rounded way down, 30 feet, 22 feet, 15 feet, and 9 feet of curvature hiding these, but they all show up on the same plane, kind of like they're on the same plane. But this one's refracting up over 30 feet. This one's refracting up and stopping at eye level, at camera level, at 22 feet, 15 feet, and 9 feet. They're pretending that they're all on the same plane. Or maybe they're all on the same plane. So there is no explanation for this other than the Earth is flat. Well, the Earth is bigger. Well, then your math is wrong, because the curvature calculator that we're using is giving the globe the benefit of the doubt, and it's coming up short. So here's a ship tracking site, and you can click on any of these ships, and it'll tell you where it's going, who the captain is, where it's registered, and we find this ship that is 730 miles inside of the shoreline of Antarctica. 730 miles. And according to Google Maps, it's 1.9 miles higher than sea level. How does a working ship get that far into Antarctica? Found another one 905 miles in. 905 miles in. According to the size of Antarctica, that's almost near the middle. 2.37 miles higher up. So what does that mean? Well, what if Antarctica, the world was set up like this? This is where they tell us Antarctica is. From Santiago, maybe they take you right to the middle right here. They say, oh, you're on Antarctica. Well, you're not going to know that you're on an island. This thing is bigger than Mexico and America. It's like twice the size. So you pull up here, you don't know where you are. You don't know if this is a continent. You don't know if you're on the bottom of a ball or on the side of a flat plane. You don't know anything other than what NASA will tell you. So we look a little farther into this, and we clicked on one of those ships that was inside of Antarctica, and there was very little information other than the ship was 580 meters long and 80 meters wide. That's a friggin' massive ship. And it was registered on the nation of Kiribati. Kiribati. I know I'm saying it wrong. Someone told me how to say it, but I put a pin on it because you can't even find it. It's a friggin' sandbar in the middle of the South Pacific. And China gave them $10 billion recently. And I think America gave them a close number to that not that long ago. What's going on here? What's going on? Why does America, China, other countries say that Kiribati is a very important trade route? Why the hell do they need to stop at Kiribati with a gigantic ship? And there is a gigantic friggin' pier over here, right? So why do they need to stop there, right? And another funny thing on Kiribati, there's the Captain Cook Hotel. Captain Cook is the last guy to try to circumnavigate Antarctica. It took him 3.5 years, and he went over 68,000 miles when it's only supposed to be 13. Sounds like, how could he go 13,000 miles around? I mean, 68,000 miles around, unless he's going around the whole world and it's flat. I mean, it's weird. Reality, with reality matching up to a flat Earth theory. So another funny thing is all of the ships, it's hard to see, but I'll tell you what it says. All the ships that were waiting here, they for their destination, it either says unknown or Christmas Island. Christmas Island. What the frig is that? Why are they, what are they trafficking? What are they bringing? I have no idea. I can only speculate. So one other thing is Kiribati is famous that they used to do nuke testing there. Nuke testing. Didn't we just talk about nukes not being real? Right? So they show stuff like this. This guy says the testing was so horrible. He put his hands over his face and he could see his bones through his hands. Is he watching Bugs Bunny? Like, what? He said he could see the bones through his hand. This is a mainstream article. And then these guys here, nuclear bombs going off. That's a nice, clean nuclear bomb. They don't even seem to care. If you were there, would you hit the deck or would you be running or what would you be doing? Would you be just strolling around, walking around? Why a nuclear bomb? This isn't a nuclear bomb, but this is what they're showing us. They show us this something recent, right? This picture's been recycled for the last 50 years. And it's just absolute and total nonsense. The other thing is, on a globe, you have 24 time zones from North Pole to South Pole, dividing it up like orange sections in an orange. And as the Earth spins, you got all your time zones. But there's this weird time zone on the date line. And if we take a closer look at it, it literally crosses 3.5 time zones. What is it doing this for? And guess what's in the most weirdest spot ever? Kiribati. It's right there. What's going on? I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I have a theory. I think that this is a very important trade route from Kiribati out here. Now, a boat going out to these other continents would show itself in the middle of Antarctica. Maybe they're trading computer chips, weapons, tuna fish, children. I don't know. There could be dozens of trade routes that you would never know of because until this very moment, you never heard of the nation of Kiribati. Okay? So we don't know what's going on here. Did you hear last year that Japan found 7,000 new islands?
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
7,000. If they found 2 new islands, I'd be like, that's pretty cool. 7,000 new islands. We don't even know what's in our own pond, let alone.
That's a lot of islands.
That's a lot of islands. Unknown islands. Right?
That's a lot of islands, yeah.
So let me just show you one more thing. And then if you have any more questions, we can finish with that. Maps. So this is what I say. What if we lived here? Here we are, South America over here, America, Australia. I mean, Australia's over here, Africa. What's out here beyond the shoreline of Antarctica? Are there other continents out here? Are there other suns out there? What's out there? And have you guys? So what if we cut out the map right here? So we say we got America. And we draw a circle, a little bit of South America, Mexico, a little bit of Canada. And then we erase the rest of the map. And we wrap it around a sphere. And we tell people this is all that there is. And you're not allowed to go here because we don't want to disturb the penguins. And so you can get on a boat, but you go 100 miles offshore, military's there, says, no, turn around. You're not allowed to go out here. You think you're heading towards this little continent at the bottom of the ball, but in reality, you're heading towards Europe or Africa or Australia. You're not allowed to go here. Okay? What if the world is set up like this? This is the navigator across the ice wall map. What if we lived in the center of this pond? And they did the same thing. They cut it out. They wrapped it around a sphere and said no one's allowed to independently explore anything but this little tip right here. That's all you're allowed to go. You're not allowed to go here. There's no pictures either. This is a prison for your mind. And it stops you from reaching your full potential because it literally puts you in a limited, scared, resource-dragging, overpopulated prison. Is there more land beyond Antarctica? I don't know. I'd bet you money there is. I'd like to prove it. But, until we get airships back, until we get access to travel this world freely like God created, then, we are fighting a fight. What can you do? You can wake up. You can wake up your family. You can wake up your friends. You can wake up strangers. You can help people wake up. And the problem is you tell them about flat earth. If they Google flat earth, they're screwed. You got to send them somewhere. And I say, send them to my website. They don't even have to get the app. The app's $3. If you want to use the social media on there and meet people and do calls and stuff, it's $11 a year. Literally, you're buying somebody a margarita and you're not tipping the bartender. Okay. And you could also get the friggin' subscription for free by giving referrals out on the app. It's the whole thing. So again, what can you do? You can do everything. One person awake is better than 1 million people sleeping.
That's a great saying.
Yeah, well said. Yeah. I mean, most people, I mean, let's be honest, they put their heads down and they go about their day. They go work, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And
yep.
Most people just put their head down and just, okay, go with the flow.
I've done talks like this. And at the end, people like, Dave, they made some really good points, but I still think the earth is a globe. And I say, can you give me one reason? And they're like, well, I just believe it. That you're
it's
in a
hard
cult.
Changing someone's belief of for me 45 years almost. This is what you've been.
I did it.
It's
I
hard,
did it.
It's like
it's hard
Neo,
because you
right?
say it's hard. It's hard and it's scary, but when you're done, it's nothing better. I would never take the blue pill if it was a thing. If I could go back into the Matrix, get my steak and get my mansion, I wouldn't do it. Because this is an amazing, amazing world, and there's too much to see. I believe we chose to be here at this time. So again, you have the choice. You can believe and live in your fake world, and maybe you're doing okay. Maybe you got a good job. Maybe you got a nice family, and you're experiencing this world the best that you can from your position. But I don't think there's anything comparable to seeing the truth of this world and understanding the true power that you have and understanding your true potential.
I'm a big believer in belief is the enemy of knowing. I have a couple of things that I live by, Dave. It's belief is the enemy of knowing. Do right and fear no man, and always inspect what you expect. That's how I live and operate in my life, personal and in my business.
There you go.
And those are the things that have gotten me, I think, kept me alive this long, right? We all have our things that we do to survive. Those are the things that I do and I keep my mind on. So as I look into the conspiracies and these things, and I am on this truth journey, I could say that you definitely you have me questioning a whole lot more than I was questioning before we started this show.
It's easy to go right back into your heliocentric satanic lie because it's easy to just go back on those beliefs. And somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about, they're like, well, it doesn't make sense. And they'll say stuff like, what about sunsets? Sunsets prove that we're on a flat earth. Absolutely. What about the sun going below the horizon? Once you understand that, go to my channel, DITRH. I have tons of sunset videos. Go to the app. Just go, where does the sun go? Watch those videos. It'll do a better job than I can do here. I just want to point out one, divine law is the law of God. Common law is the law of the land. Statute law, admiral, maritime law is the law of the sea, or man's law. In order to convince a man to give up his divine rights or his common rights, you have to convince them they are not divinely created in the divine world. They don't want us to know that. That is the one thing that lets them get away with everything, that people are lost and have no idea who they are.
That's where I see the pattern, Dave, is like, as I, being alive as long as I have been, and I see the decline of man, of my communities, the world, the state of we are in, and just the wokeness of going on in the world,
the destruction of families.
Yeah, the destruction of family. The destruction of family, and it's like and trying to take God out of people's lives, whether you believe him or not. I mean, you can't see the world around you and not just know this thing was created by someone intelligent.
Right.
Intelligently. So I put no faith in man. No man, because man has always let me down. Man has always let me down. So
here's the thing with me is people. There's a lot of bad, evil people in this world, but I don't want to live in that world. I only allow people around me that I can trust, and I'll give everyone that. You start with my trust. Burn me
That's
once,
how I am,
yeah, you
Dave.
got a
Yeah.
problem. Burn me twice, you're dead to me. But I'm not going to live my world in a world where I don't trust anybody. I'm going to trust everybody until they, become untrustworthy. And also, we have incredible senses. You can look at somebody and know instantly if they're trustworthy. You can know instantly what their intentions are. But they've trained, they've indoctrinated all of that out of us. You put kids in school, you literally should be arrested for being an abusive parent. Sending your kid to a school, even a good school, you're an abusive parent. Okay, you should lose your kids because you're giving them away anyway. So maybe that's a little excessive. There is a benefit, some benefit to having kids socially interact. But as far as college goes, I say get a group of kids, get them a house like in Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, and let them listen to Crow. All I got to do is listen to one Crow episode a day. There's 400 episodes, 500 episodes now, and 5 days a week. And then you're going to be a smart kid. You're going to have amazing, and then you can listen to it while you're riding your bike, while you're kite surfing, while you're gardening, while you're working out at the gym, while you're, whatever, while you're making sandwiches in the sandwich shop. Okay. And you're going to learn more life skills than college. What does college teach you? It teaches you crap. Now, if you want to be a orthopedic doctor, you got to go learn that stuff. That's a good doctor. You want to be an allopathic doctor? Good luck. Okay, that's insanity. You're just going to be a pharmaceutical salesman. And you want to be a plumber? I remember when I was in high school, I was like, we're talking, senior year. I'm like, oh, where are you going to school? And a couple of buddies like, oh, I'm not going to school. I'm going to go build houses with my brother, and I'm going to go. My brother, we're going to start a plumbing business or something. These guys are on yachts now. Okay, they're chilling. They're doing great. So again, the whole scam, the whole everything, the whole education system is a scam. It's a scam to keep you a slave.
Yeah, I agree. It teaches you to be average, above at least average. And I can definitely agree with that. My kids are already out of school and adulting, and one's in college, but my youngest. But I remember when my youngest, when she was in school, she was. This is around when Obama was, dare I say his name, was president, and I remember just the indoctrination. That's when I started noticing the indoctrination and the things they were kind of forcing her to bring home from school. And that's when I was starting to wake up. I was in my, late 20s, and I was just like, okay, what's going on in the world? I think so when I started paying attention. Now at my age, I'm just like, they're just, you got to wake up. You got to unplug from the matrix.
Here's the thing. I threw out a lot of information. I was all over the place. And 2 hours and 15 minutes or whatever it is, it's too much and not enough time at the same time. So what I recommend for people that are still trying to hold on, get my app. Okay. If you can't afford the app, hit me up. I'll connect you. I'll get you the app. Okay. And like, if you're having a problem with NASA, go to the ISS stuff. We didn't even go over the ISS stuff. It's hysterical. Oh, no. I mean, all the mistakes they make, they're hanging from wires, green screens, and just go watch that. And then ask yourself, how could that, if they're lying about that, what else are they lying about? And the answer is they're lying about everything. And most of those astronauts are liars. Some of them believe that they're in space. They had this young black girl, but she, looking at her, you can tell she's hypnotized. She's hanging from wires, and they told her, you're on the space shuttle. You're floating, and you can do a flip, and you don't see the wires. Easy. And you just look at this girl, you can tell by her eyes, she's hypnotized. And so there are people that believe it. And then, then there's Don Pettit. He actually is just retarded and thinks he is an astronaut.
I actually played the Don Pettit video one time, I think on one of our lives. And they're like, because I just believe NASA is just a joke, and
it's a joke.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say that, and I know we didn't cover a lot, so I hope we can bring you back, because I'm going to go back and
maybe we can make it a series, Dave. Maybe
I would love, I'd love to have Dave back.
Absolutely. I think people are still going to try and snatch that Bitcoin from you. I guarantee you that.
You know what? We're creating
I'm going to try. I got to
opportunities
figure this out.
Yeah.
We're creating opportunities for people out there, Dave.
There
So if this is an opportunity for people to snag some Bitcoin, then we'd love to have you come back.
I'll definitely come back, but there's no opportunity to snag the Bitcoin. The offer's there, but it's like you can also have a better chance of winning the Powerball 150,000 times in a row. Because that's possible. That's possible.
Or to take a prescription drug that cures you.
Yeah.
That's another one that I would like to see. Maybe do something like that. If anybody knows the PDR, the physician's desk reference that has lists all the pharmaceuticals, find one of them in there that cures you.
Antibiotics.
Of anything.
Antibiotics.
Yeah. So
that's the only one that cures you of something. That also blows up your whole system. But that's the only one that doesn't just treat symptoms.
Yep. So there's all kinds of ways to do it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like when I realized that there's no drug I would take for any disease that would be covered under insurance. There's like nothing. You used to see my medicine cabinet. It's like a potion. It's all potions and stuff. And when I realized the power of like essential oils and everything that goes with it, it's mind blowing. So
I'd like to know more about that for sure.
Yeah.
There's so many topics to talk about.
Yeah.
It's endless. Again, it's endless. We just had our conference in Vegas a week or two ago, and 500 people. No matter where you turn, you bump into somebody. You can have an open conversation about anything. It's amazing.
All right. So you spoke at the very beginning, Dave, about December 2nd, and there's going to be a debate. So I guess in wrapping up, if you want to talk about where can we find you, right? I mean, you've talked about the app and those types of things, but go ahead and for those that did not hear it, and we'll probably shoot to the end. I'm like, what's this guy talking about? Go ahead and plug your stuff, man.
FlatEarthDave.com. All my socials are there. My YouTube's there. My TikToks are there. Everything. There's a banner that says latest interviews. This will be at the top of that. After this is recorded, and you can watch all my interviews. My DITRH stands for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole YouTube channel. That's for beginners, not for beginners, for everybody, but it's for the short attention span. Like my longest video is 5 minutes. So that's a good way to just start looking into it. And then if you really, want to take it seriously, take the challenge, get the app, $3 one-time charge, and start watching the videos there. If you don't want to wait 2 weeks, you just click the archive button and you could watch the last 7 or 14 in a row, and then collect your Bitcoin if you have a globe proof, which you won't. So
how long have you been doing this, Dave?
I've been doing it since 2014,
and no one's taking your Bitcoin. So that's
no. And when Bitcoin was really low, I upped it from 1 Bitcoin to 3 Bitcoins, and then now it's going back up. So, and here's the thing: I don't have 10 Bitcoins, otherwise I'd make it 10 Bitcoins. Okay, but the thing is, you're not going to win because we don't live on a globe. But hey, if you think we do, that means I'm crazy. It's an easy win. Go for it. But here's the thing: if you truly go for it and look for that evidence, you're going to be right over here with us. You're going to be a flat earther. And flat, is the earth flat? Absolutely not. It's a topographical plane. It's level. It's horizontal. It's non-rotating. It's got mountains and valleys. So is it flat? No, it's level and horizontal. Flat is just a description of those terms.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah. So the Greg Locke thing, if you go on the app and click the archive button, just back a couple days, there's a video I have in there. Pastor Greg Locke. It's called the meltdown, the challenge, and then the response. And it basically shows what's going on. So that's going to be a huge one. He's got like 3 million church followers on his Facebook where he streams. And so we're gonna be there. And Pastor Dean Odell, who's an amazing presenter as far as the flat cosmology in the Bible. I don't know if what's going to happen with this pastor. He says that if he is shown that he is wrong and the Bible is right, he'll be a humble man and eat his pride. Well, that's what's going to happen. Whether he's going to do that or not, it's unbelievable, because there is nothing in the Bible that says the earth is spinning, that it's a ball, it's a sphere. The only thing you come up with is Isaiah's circle of the earth. The definition of a circle is a line on a plane, which is flat, where all points on that line are equidistant from a center point. That's a circle. That's not a sphere. And so I don't know what the heck he's talking about. It's going to be amazing. I'm actually going to Tennessee.
Yeah, I want to check that one out for sure.
That should be interesting. Yeah.
And anybody that wants to go to Tennessee, I think you can go, and you can go to this church. So look for information. It'll probably be I'll probably pop something up on the app where it has when something big is happening, we have a pop up. You open up the app and a thing will pop up and tell you about it. So as soon as I get a little more information, but it's December 2nd. It's right flying into Memphis, and it's right around there. It's like within 30 minutes of the airport.
Well, good.
Nice.
Dave, we've been going 2.5 hours. We're trying to keep it an hour. We usually go. We actually do long, like 5-hour ones. We're not going to keep it.
No, I got
record 8 hours.
Yeah.
Dave's like, no, man, I got to get out of
Unless
here.
anyone else has any other questions, Dave. Does anybody have any questions? The last one for Dave.
No, he's
right.
good.
Oh, then I gotta go
we'll
watch
let
some
Dave-
videos, and I'll hit him up and try.
Yeah, you got Greek's gonna go do some homework. That's just how he is.
Greek,
I'm gonna do some homework as well.
I appreciate that you were quiet and you were listening, and I'm sure there's some cognitive dissonance in there, but go, dig in and go to the NASA section on the app if you have the app, and it's going to present itself to you in a way where
I always keep an open mind, and I always do my own research. I don't let somebody just say this is the way.
Think about this though. We all love outer space and Star Trek and Star Wars and everything. What if, that pond series I showed you, a piece of the plane would be called a planet, right? And what if those were just literally, tens of thousands of miles away, not trillions of miles away, which we can't fathom. So you literally can go from one planet to another in a day or less. So you can go to other worlds, and we can call them all of these other planets' names or whatever you want. What if there's all these other civilizations out there? What if they're right here on flat Earth? Now that is physically possible if the Earth is flat. Outer space, the way they describe it, is scientifically impossible. And even if it was possible, which it isn't, it's unobtainable at the distances they told us. Remember 28,000 years at a speed that no one will ever reach? That's to get to the closest star. So they have everything. When you want to dilute something like God, what do? You pour it into something bigger, like infinite space. And you're just diluting everything. Everything's right here. We are at the center of creation. This is the most amazing thing ever. And I don't think we can survive off of this electric plane that we're on. We're part of this living system. I used to laugh. People say, the Earth is alive. The Earth is totally alive. Everything is alive. Mm-hmm. This world is not what we think it is. So,
yeah.
So
the need for Space Force, is there an actual need for it? Is it just part of the hoax? I mean, why would the government then start Space Force?
Somebody made a comment that Space Force is really cyberspace. It's a cyberspace force, but there is no Space Force. There is no one's going to space, and no one has ever been on a rocket except Evel Knievel jumping over the canyon, and Mike Hughes jumped and killed himself in a rocket, not trying to prove the Earth is flat. So once you wrap your mind around all of this and you stop crying, it's sad. You're going to be blown away. You're going to be blown away on what this place really is and the true potential that we have. And the idea of extraterrestrials, I think there's extraterrestrials here all the time. I think we see them every day. We just don't even know it. That they're extraterrestrial. What does that mean? They come from the extra terra, the extra land. Extraterrestrials from where? The outer space, beyond Antarctica, outside of our pond. Extraterrestrials from outer space. That's where they're coming from. They're right there. They're not coming from 25 trillion miles away and crashing in Roswell.
Yeah. See, I've always thought of that too. It's like they took so long to get here, traveled so far, and they're going.
Well, they folded space time. It didn't take them that long. They folded space. And they went through the paper in a wormhole, and they got here in 10 minutes. This is hogwash, nonsense. Okay, so the thing is, I don't know what's beyond Antarctica. Anything that we talk about out there is speculation. Lots of stories from the past. Go read the Iron Republic. Go on YouTube and search the Iron Republic, the Morgile. He read the whole book for you. Did a great job. Pop it in during your commute or whatever you do. 5 hours, 5.5 hours. It'll make you really think, because in the 1800s they were talking about more land beyond Antarctica.
Yeah, and that's what I love about this is it makes you open your mind. It makes you think. So again, Dave, we appreciate you being here and sharing so much with us, man. That was it was definitely cool. Yeah.
So I'll finish with this. The way we free ourselves from the controllers is get off of their map, that's the globe, and get off of their fiat currency. And we're free. Those two things together. So when crypto meets flat Earth, now we're making progress. But there's a lot of resistance out there. There's people out there like Richard Hart. He don't want to freaking hear it. Okay? He don't want to hear it. But there's people out there like Mike Adams, good guy, smart, political, thinks nuclear bombs are real, pushing the nuke hoax all the time. Okay? There's all sorts of issues. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater with anything. But when you realize the key to our freedom, the two keys, get off their map, get off their money, stop playing their game, and then we win.
I like that. So somebody like Elon in the private sector who's supposed to be doing space, does he really believe he's doing that, or is he just part of?
I go back and forth. I think he's totally like they opened up his brain and he's a total robot at this point. I think I saw one time he had a crew cut and he had this big scar on his head, like he had brain surgery. It was the weirdest thing ever. I don't know. Go back and forth. Doesn't matter. But everything you've ever heard about Elon Musk is a lie. On my website, flatearthdave.com, scroll down. There's a banner that's just a whole bunch of pictures of Elon Musk. It's a 5-minute video. You'll understand that nothing he says is real. The stupid car in space.
Together, man.
Yeah, the car in space. Well, the car in space, I actually tried to show that, Dave. I know I keep saying we're going to close this thing out, but yeah, right. So I remember they were showing the Earth, a picture of the Earth, or it's supposed to be live from the car, and the car was only like, I don't know, like half the distance what ISIS is supposed to be. A space, where they can't even show the whole Earth from ISIS.
I got it. I got it right here. Okay. So here it is. And first, where's all the land? All right, that's weird. This is NASA picture. So we see they show us this 170 miles up. 170 miles up. And why are we? Why can we see that when the space station can barely see a curve? The space station can barely see a curve. Hold on, I had another thing that actually showed this. Here it is. Tesla. So here is a shot from the space station. So this is the curve of the Earth. Now, the space station's 250 miles up. It doesn't get higher or lower. It basically stays there. So the curve should always be the same. It should always be the same. There's another one. We'll say it's the same curve. Right? They always have a little selfie in there. They always see. And here it is again. And this, I don't think can't be a fisheye lens, right? And now it's a lot flatter, 250 miles up. How did we lose some curve? Let's just say refraction. And now we have this amount of curve, and now we have this at 170 miles up. We have this amount of curve. Okay, so
ridiculous, man.
So relax. It's over. It's over. Yeah, you can't have this. You can't have this. This is not a possibility. So now Elon's lying. It's rockets fake. NASA's faking stuff on the space station. The Chinese space station, that's another joke. You look at the space shuttle. There's so many problems with it. Again, on the app, one of my favorite buttons on the app, my favorite button is if you hit the web button, the one that looks like a spider web, and you scroll down right here, rockets, fake balloon rockets. Watch all of those videos, and when you're done crying, you're going to be a new man.
Mm-hmm. All right, Greek.
I just grabbed the app.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sad. I know we got a lot to talk about, Dave. I hope you come back because we got to do a part
just
two.
hit me up. I'll send you another scheduling link. All right.
All right. Great. Well, we'll do it again, and we'll try to get some concrete questions for you because we kind of let you go all over the place. I know you got a lot. You can.
Yeah. I prefer just answering questions. That would be great. I was, there's too much to cover and too many different directions to go. So. I'd love the questions because then it's easy because I'm trying to hit some complicated stuff, but I know the questions. What about sunsets? Can you explain? I know it.
I'm sure you've heard them all before. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard them all.
It's good. It's good though because more people hear it, the more people that kind of put down their ego and go, "Wow, this is important." And once you understand the importance of it, even a lot of people wake up to flat Earth, they realize it's flat, and they're like, "Yeah, but I don't understand why they do it." And then when you understand again, and on the web button, why the lie is also another great one right here. Why the lie? There's fantastic videos. I actually have a new one coming out. I think it's on Wednesday. Next Wednesday. What's today? What day is it?
Sunday. Yeah.
I have no idea what day of the week.
Another day around the sun.
Yeah.
Now he talks.
Good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
So the why the lie, those are inspiring. If you turn off Netflix, turn off the garbage on TV, watch the full length videos. Hit the web button, go down to FE movies. Great list of stuff there. Amazing. And then why the lie? You'll just become more and more empowered. I have so much energy because if you're bored, you get depressed, you get tired, right? Flat Earthers are never bored. We're never bored. There's just so much. So I literally bounce out of bed at 5:00 in the morning every day, and I'm going until midnight every day. So it energizes you, all of this information. So that's why people, Dave, you're so passionate about this. This is an amazing thing. This is something that once you see it, you can never put it down.
Well, I've seen some things. You showed me some things today that I made me kind of go, damn. Okay, I got to look at that one. So, you definitely. I'm not gonna be able to put this down. This isn't just gonna go away. I want to know, and belief being the enemy of knowledge or knowing. I don't want to just believe anymore. I want to know. So
here's the thing. You're gonna come across things that are like, wait a minute, how does this work? Write it down, and then and so there's two types of people. There's actually more than two types, but they'll come to me and go, flat Earth is stupid because of this. Explain this. You can't explain this. Just don't phrase it that way. Say, how do you explain this? And then listen for the answer because we can't explain. Sunsets.
It seems like you have answers to pretty much everything. Yeah.
Not everything, but here's the thing. And I use this all the time. My car has a catalytic converter. I don't know if my car will work without it. I don't know if it's in the engine or in the muffler. I really don't know. I really don't care. Okay. But because I don't know doesn't mean that it's not real. There's a lot of things we don't know. Globers think they know everything. They think that they can see curvature from airplanes. They think that they don't understand that they believe all of these things, but none of them are true. And they think that there's no proof of flat Earth when there's the opposite is true. There's tons of proof of flat Earth. So flat Earthers know, we know, like when someone says, what's the moon? I don't know. Anything in the sky, as Crow says, any star, sun, and moon, they're lights. That's all you can really say about them. They're lights because we can see them. And we don't know what they are. We don't know how far they are. We don't know if they're physical, if they're not physical. I don't think the sun that we see is the physical sun. I think the physical sun is beyond the firmament or within it. But again, as I said earlier, you have to, if you can't touch it or measure it or know the distance, you really can't say anything truthful about it.
Yeah. So you're bringing up a lot of stuff, firmament. These are questions we're going to be bringing back to you for sure. But we're going to go and wrap it up.
Just for everybody, your app is the Flat Earth Sun Moon Clock. That's your app.
The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Now on the Android, there's already the Globe Trolls tried at the beginning they stole my name. They started like copying each thing I did, but they did horrible, and then they finally gave up. And my app is so far beyond it. So if you happen to accidentally buy their app, make sure you leave them a proper review. But if you want to make sure you get the right one, just go to flatearthdave.com and click the banner right at the top. Flatearthdave.com. It'll take you Android, Google. It's only for Android and Google mobile devices right now, tablets, iPads, phones. Eventually, it's going to be on all of the app stores, but we need to just go a little bit farther and get a few more things done before we can do that. So that's going to be a while. It does not work on computers yet.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. I downloaded it to my iPad. It looks great. I mean, it's
amazing on the iPad. The iPad though is a great way to use it.
Yeah, that's the phone's cool and all, but the iPads, I kind of get it, kind of bird's eye view of everything. So I'm definitely gonna do my research on this thing. So
and a lot of times, people have it on the phone. They're like, "Oh, it's so small." If people that have Apple TV or YouTube on their, just play it on your phone for a second, and then go to your history on your TV or your computer, and everything's there, so you can share all this stuff.
Good.
All right, I'm losing my voice. I'm done, boys.
Yeah, we're done, guys.
We're done. So whether or not you guys buy what Dave's selling, I think much respect just for taking all the information, putting it in one place. Thanks for being here with us today. And Kryptonian, if you want to sign us out, man.
Thanks, guys, for joining us. We are crypto. We do more than we talk more about more than crypto, Dave. But we wanted to kick this week off with talking about the moon, and we got into flat Earth. So we will have you back. So send me out that link. Thanks again for joining us. And we like to say this, Dave, is we'll see you guys on the blockchain.